I was grabbing a book out of my locker when some guy's shout startled me. "Hey everyone, the results are over here!" Oh, it's just the results of the Mind Buzz, our annual high school general knowledge competition. People, what's the rush? Don't we all know what it'll be like already? See, nothing's changed. That's my name, there, the first place of Willowmere High, as always. And of course, what came along with it were endless praises from everyone. "Way to go, Millie, you're our school's superhero!" "Oh my gosh, you're amazing, I'm so jealous of you!" "Yep. Hi, I'm Millie, the girl who always aces every school contest and is therefore adored by the other students, all the teachers, and the principal." Later that day, as soon as I stepped out of art class, Alice, my excitable best friend, jumped out of nowhere and squealed out, "I just found this really cool place. We have to go there right now." No chance. I have the final round of the Blast from the Past contest tomorrow. I mean, history is my forte, so I'm sure to win, but I still want to cram in some last-minute studying. Come on. We all know you'll win anyway. You even said that yourself. So let's just hang out for a little, please. Fine, but only 'cause I'm an amazing friend. Okay. I have to admit, this place was actually kind of cool. It's an adorable cafe hidden at the end of a street corner. But wait a minute. What's up with that sticker on the window? Isn't that the Leafmore High School symbol? No way we're setting foot in that taboo place. I tried tugging on Alice's arm and gesturing for us to leave, but she stood her ground and replied, "Come on, Millie. We have to try their croissants. All the food bloggers are talking about it." "But this is Leafmore's territory. Look." "So? It's not like anyone will recognize us." Before I could comprehend what was happening, she dragged me inside. Oh well, it seems like we've gone too far to draw back, so I may as well sample what this place has to offer. Why was our order taking so long? And what was with Alice? Ugh, how many selfies did one girl need to take? I was clenching my fists to stop myself from anxiously fidgeting when two boys walked towards our table. "Hey, cutie, I've not seen you in here before. What grade are you in?" Oh no, how should I answer this question? I quickly turned away, pretending to rummage through my bag to avoid his gaze, but they still didn't leave me alone, as the other guy said, "Wait, this girl doesn't seem to be from our school. Are you?" Oh snap! Did he recognize me? My skin turned clammy with nerves and I thought I was going to throw up. Then suddenly a voice rang out. "Sorry I'm late. Have you been waiting long?" Then he plonked himself down next to us. Seeing that, the two guys left. Phew! But who is this guy? Do we know him? Oh my god! Evan, it's you! Is that the new Calvin Klein cologne? It smells amazing on you. Huh? Evan? As in, Evan Summers? The top student in Leafmore, aka my biggest competition in tomorrow's contest? To Alice's excitement and my puzzled look, Evan just lightly smiled, then got up to leave. He's indeed a cold angel. What? All he was to me was arrogant. You're probably wondering what the deal between Willowmere and Leafmore is, right? They're the two biggest high schools in this town, but like the same poles of magnets, they repel each other. The two schools have been rivals since forever, competing with each other from academic achievements to collective activities. In competitions organized by the town, such as marathons, Halloween decorations, or even cooking contests. And of course, the students from both schools despise each other so much that we have boundaries in town. For example, this cafe is only for Leafmore students, while only Willowmere students are allowed in that bookstore. Breaking these rules could lead to outright carnage. The schools take this super seriously. Hence, there's even a rule saying we can't interact with each other. And dating is a real no-no. You see, as the top student in Willowmere, I can't let anyone find out I've stepped foot in Leafmore territory, as if they do, my life won't be worth living. And also, because of my #1 position, I have a responsibility to help my school win as many prizes as possible. And this history contest is no exception. I anxiously waited for the host to announce the results. And the last 20 points go to Leafmore High School, which makes them the winners of today's contest. From the other side of the hall, the Leafmore students erupted into applause, and they all charged at Evan and hugged him. Seeing the arrogant Evan with a triumphant face made me even more upset. Congratulations, you were amazing! Alice, we lost. Only by 5 points. Second place is still good, but it was me who was defeated by that Evan. Poor Alice is still trying to keep her shy smile at me. I didn't want to take it out on her either, so I quickly left. The next day I was walking along the school corridor, minding my own business, when I passed a group of students gossiping about me. Poof, she defo lost the quiz on purpose. Yeah, her question was so easy. Everyone knows that the first US dollar was printed in 1862. Why were they saying such mean things about me? I tried my best to ignore their jibes and distract myself with my phone, but what is this? Someone had uploaded a picture of me, Alice, and Evan all sitting together in that cafe the other day. Oh no. And worse still, from this angle, we all looked kind of close. Furious, I went to leave, but Polly, this annoying girl, blocked my way and mocked me. Millie, if you don't like this place, you could have transferred schools. Losing to Leafmore on purpose is just embarrassing. I did no such thing. Not that it's any of your business. I hurried away from her and her smirking friends. The problem is, it seemed like the entire school had seen that picture and concluded that I'm a traitor. At least things couldn't get any worse, right? Wrong. My bad luck continued when I got my English Lit essay back. A B-. This can't be right. I never get anything lower than an A. Ever! I was checking through my test when suddenly there was an announcement on the speaker, asking me to come to the principal's office. Millie, you're usually such an excellent student, but I've received some unpleasant news about you recently, and your grades are slipping significantly. I could only stare down at the floor and mumbled, I'm really sorry. I'd never been scolded by the principal before. This was the worst day of my life. Miss Garcia was silent for a moment before she continued. However, I still have faith in you, so I'm giving you one last chance to prove yourself. The town's hosting a Rube Goldberg machine camp and our school must win. Can you make that happen, Millie? I forced a smile and nodded. No problem, ma'am. The first prize will be ours. Trust me. This is my chance to show everyone that I'm devoted to this school. However, there's one teensy tiny problem. Physics is not my forte. It's all right. I just gotta do my best, right? I spent the next 2 weeks planning, researching, and testing out ideas with my group. We finally managed to create the perfect Rube Goldberg machine. It includes 15 genius steps to complete the final task. We're surely gonna secure all these bonus points. Finally, the camp weekend arrived, and I was super stoked to show off my team's entry. Tomorrow will be it. I'll get Willomere's name back on top again. Then suddenly, Miss Garcia tapped my shoulder and gestured me over to an empty corner and worriedly said, Leafmore's machine is highly praised by the judges. At this rate, they're most likely to win, and that'll mean humiliation for us. Don't worry, I'm trying my best. We'll add some extra magnets and springs. It's no use. The only way we'll win over Leafmore is if their entry encounters problems. She sighed, then turned to leave. Feeling deflated, I stared down at my feet. That's when I saw a pocket knife, with Miss Garcia's name printed on it, lying on the ground. I picked it up and called out, Miss, you dropped your knife! But Miss Garcia didn't stop walking or turn back, and just did a snipping gesture with her fingers. Could it be that Miss Garcia meant... Yep, definitely. That's the only way. So that night, I waited until everyone else was asleep, then I snuck into the gallery and cut a piece of wire holding the light bulb of Leafmore's model. That should be enough. I was about to leave the room when suddenly the lights came on. What are you doing here? You just did this, didn't you? Yeah? So what? Go ahead, tell on me if you want. This is all so meaningless. Then he sat down and started fixing his model. Huh? What's meaningless? Good God, he's so full of himself. Fine then. Just you wait, Evan. I'll beat you with my own talent. Let's see if you'll still be Mr. Arrogant then. It was my team's turn, and for the first 3 steps, the Rube Goldberg machine worked quite smoothly. But when it came to the 4th step, suddenly the wooden slide collapsed, causing the marble to fall to the ground and the machine to stop working. We all stared at each other in panic. No, this couldn't be happening. We tested it many times this morning and it had worked perfectly fine. I rushed over to check what was wrong with the machine, but I struggled and couldn't find a way to fix it, when suddenly a voice said,
"Let me see."
I looked up. It was Evan. I stepped aside to make room for him, when suddenly Ms. Garcia appeared.
"I see what's happened here. Clearly, Leafmore High knew the only way they'd win was by sabotaging the best entry."
The whole hall started to stir, but I felt my skin prickle with unease. I didn't think this was Leafmore's doing. Look at Evan. He didn't even bother telling the judges about last night's incident. Immediately after that, Leafmore's principal, Miss Harris, said,
"Ms. Garcia, you can't go around accusing us without proof. Clearly, you're the one who feels the need for underhand tactics to win, not us."
Then she held out her phone and circled the crowd so everyone could see. I gasped in shock. There on the screen was a picture of me standing next to Leafmore's model with a knife. Miss Harris continued,
"Seeing as we managed to fix it in time, we decided not to mention anything else about it. But then you dared to accuse us."
The crowd glared and tutted at me, and I longed for the floor to swallow me whole. I'd put blood, sweat, and tears into creating our model, and now people just thought I was a cheat. The worst part was they were right. I was one. The jury went off to discuss this. Then they announced their conclusion. Willowmere had been disqualified. Immediately, Mrs. Garcia piped in.
"This is hardly fair. That was the action of one individual, not the whole group. I assure you that Millie is no longer on the team, so let my school continue to compete without her."
I froze in shock. How could Miss Garcia do this to me? It had been all her idea, hadn't it? She'd given me the knife. The realization of what just happened hit me, and I fell to my knees and burst into tears. All that hard work, and for nothing. Even Alice hugging me in comfort didn't release me from my gut-wrenching, sinking feeling. Then to my surprise, Evan said,
"Mrs. Garcia, can you explain why I found this knife with your name engraved on it next to our model?"
He raised the knife up for everyone to see. Oops. In all the stress of last night, I must have dropped it. Miss Garcia turned ghostly pale and everyone started to buzz about it.
"I can't believe you colluded with your students to do this. You're no different from her. Last night Miss Harris instructed me to tamper with Willowmere's model, but I refused. As if we win, I wanted it to be fairly."
The whole hall once again began to stir and gawped on amazed as Evan continued.
"I'm so tired of the petty feud between our schools. It's so dumb and meaningless."
The jury went off to discuss this further and came back with a new announcement. Both schools were disqualified. It's shameful. But, well, it's for the best. We really don't deserve to be here. Oh boy, that sure was eventful. The scandal between the two schools was hot gossip in the town for days. They even brought it up at the monthly town meeting. That's when the truth came out that Ms. Garcia and Miss Harris had history. They were in the same year at school and were fiercely competitive against each other. So, years later, when both of them became principals of the two schools, they began this whole feud war. In the end, both principals were forced to leave their positions. So, now what? Well, there aren't any dumb rules about where I can go anymore, which is good, because I actually really like it here. I've learned my lesson, and I'm never going to let anyone pressure me into cheating ever again. Peace has returned to school life, and it feels good. Oh, and as for Evan, I'm actually studying with him right now for our next Blast from the Past quiz. Only this time, I'm definitely going to beat him.
Oh, it's been more than a year, and this place is still exactly the same, I thought to myself. Suddenly, I noticed a man walking in front of me. He looked so familiar. Could it be him? Alex! I rushed after him and grabbed his arm. He's so gonna catch these hands. But as he turned around, oops, I realized it wasn't Alex, but a total stranger. Martin Henderson? I was so embarrassed that I couldn't even look him in the eyes. Sorry, I murmured as I ran towards the elevator. This must be fate. We meet again. I was standing outside the building when I heard a voice. I turned around and there he was, the guy I met this morning. Hi, I'm Martin, he said, and reached out to shake my hand. Before I could react, I heard someone calling me. It was Tom, my best friend from Vietnam. I had a lunch date with him, but I'd almost forgotten. "Oh, I'm Lindsay. Great seeing you." Then I quickly said bye to Martin and rushed over to Tom. "Lindsay, how's your new job going, and who is that guy back there?" I felt so sad as he asked me this. I don't actually know him. He just looks so much like someone from my past." Tom rolled his eyes. "Someone from your past? Oh, come on. Don't tell me it was that pathetic boyfriend of yours who abandoned you in Vietnam." Well, what could I say? Despite what Alex did to me after all this time, I still couldn't get him out of my head. Tom could clearly sense that as he said, "Honestly, Lindsay, you need to get over him. He was a total jerk." Suddenly, all of the memories of our time together came flooding back. A year ago, Alex and I had gone on an adventure to Vietnam together. We'd been planning it for ages, and it would be a long one, since we wanted to explore the country as much as possible. At first, everything was going to plan, but then, one morning, a stupid argument led us to a big fight that got Alex so angry that he up and left. I thought he just needed to blow off some steam and then he'd be back, so I just carried on with the trip on my own in the meantime. But days quickly passed, and there was no sign of him. And ever since then, I haven't seen or heard from him. It's like he just disappeared into thin air. Anyway, I had to pay for everything on the trip by myself, including stuff that we reserved for two. So I quickly ran low on cash. And what's left in my bank account couldn't afford me a trip back home either. So I asked my mom if I could borrow some. And that's when she told me what had happened. My family was in huge trouble due to some food scandal at their restaurant. The case was really serious, and they'd gone totally bankrupt. So my mom just told me to stay put in Vietnam for a bit, until things had calmed down. Well, that's how I ended up being stuck in Vietnam for a whole year, and the rest is history. I turned to Tom and smiled. He'd been so good to me. "Tom, thank you for helping me find a job back then. You're a lifesaver." Tom grinned and said, "No, I should thank you. Actually, you're the reason why I strive to be here in the US getting my master's degree. And you know what? I still want to be the one by your side. Always." Geez, it was a bit awkward. I didn't know what to do but force a polite smile. Yeah, I could tell he had some sort of feelings for me, but I only considered him as a best friend. And look, at the moment, I had enough on my plate already. So here I am now, at the company that used to belong to my family, to help my parents solve this scandal with their restaurant. I know the claims aren't true, and I'm determined to help them figure it out so they can get their business back. Until then, I have to deal with working under the new CEO, Mr. Garcia. "Well, well, hello, precious princess of the Stewart family." "Oh, Mr. Garcia, it's been a long time not seeing those greedy eyes." "What an honor for us to have the daughter of the former CEO as an employee." I forgot to mention, but guess what? That rude man just happens to be Alex's uncle. So yeah, that's been fun. And there's something I just can't get out of my head. Alex's disappearance happened at the exact same time as my family's business collapsed. Coincidence or... I'd get to the bottom of it though. Ever since then, I put a lot of effort into my work, hoping to find some clues. But Mr. Garcia just never fails to give me endless trouble. Luckily, Martin was by my side. Yep, that's right. That guy I'd bumped into on my first day of work. He'd been so supportive, even bringing me dinner when I work overtime. I mean, how sweet. And the more time I spent with him, the happier I became. There was just something so familiar about him. Tom, however, wasn't happy about this. He'd applied to be an intern at our company, but he worked in the files control department. Tom was so rude to Martin every time they bumped into each other, and it made me feel so uncomfortable. One time, Martin had offered me a lift home, and Tom forced me to go with him instead, saying it would be safer. He was being so immature. But I didn't have time to focus on that, because there were bigger things at stake. One day, I found out there was a clue that could lead me to the truth. A top-secret document that was kept in the file's control department. It contained all the business activities from before my family went bankrupt, and also the deals of how Mr. Garcia went about taking over the company. I needed to get to this document. However, there was just one problem. The only person who could access the computer where this document was stored were members of Alex's family. Big problem, right? Anyway, one night, Tom and I were out to dinner, and he was acting really weird. Suddenly, he said, "Lindsay, you should stay away from Martin. There's something shady about him." This annoyed me. "Tom, I don't get it. What's your problem with him?" "Please listen to me first." Then, he told me what he'd seen. One night, he'd gone back to work as he'd forgotten his phone, and he happened to see Martin trying to access top-secret documents. "Request access," Martin had said. "Kindly provide the access code." The server responded. "Alexei Joseph Garcia," he said confidently. And then the iris scanner started working. "Welcome, Mr. Garcia. Access granted." Tom had watched all of this from behind the door quietly, and with just a few clicks, Martin had successfully accessed all the top-secret files without a problem. Then he'd quickly left through the back entrance. I couldn't believe it! If it was only the Garcia family who had access, how had Martin done this? And how did he know Alex's full name? Well, I needed to pay more attention to this guy. At least he'd gotten the file anyway. That was good enough for me. I had to get it from him. A few days later, I pretended my laptop was broken and asked if I could borrow his to send a few emails. I quickly checked his files, but couldn't find anything. Where could he be keeping them? Then one day, I saw him slip a USB drive into his bag. Well, that's suspicious. Maybe that was what I needed. That afternoon, I asked him out for coffee, and then I decided to drop my phone so that I could find a way to reach into his bag and get the USB. Unfortunately, it didn't go to plan. I ended up knocking over my coffee cup, and it went all over Martin's sleeve. He always wore long sleeves, even on roasting hot days, but of course, the coffee had gone everywhere, so he quickly pulled up his sleeve. And that's when I saw it. A scar running up his arm. I gasped. "How did you get this scar? It looks exactly like my ex's. Alex had the same scar." Before I could say anything more, Martin snapped and said, "What scar?" Then he quickly pulled his sleeve down. "Don't lie to me, Martin. I saw it. And I know there's something sketchy about you. Why did you access the server room at 10 p.m.? And how did you know Alex's full name? Tell me who you are. I knew there was something familiar about you. Just tell me the truth." "Yes, it's me. Alex." He spoke hesitantly, then asked me to calm down, but I couldn't stand it. My heart stopped for a few beats. "How could you do this?" I screamed. "Did you and your uncle plan this all along?" "Lindsay, let me explain. I got plastic surgery, but it's not what you think. I'm on your side. I want to overthrow my uncle and get the company back for your family. Please believe me." Then Martin, or should I say Alex, told me the whole story. It turns out Mr. Garcia planned the whole thing to sabotage my family's business, and he took advantage of Alex to help do this. He, Mr. Garcia, even made up a story that there had been a feud between our two families, and that my dad had tried to bankrupt Alex's family, which pushed his parents to the brink of desperation. Of course, this made Alex angry, as he was protective of his family, and it nurtured in him a strong craving for revenge. But after helping his uncle take over my family's business, he discovered not only that Mr. Garcia wasn't his uncle, but that he, Alex, was also an orphan. Apparently, Mr. Garcia didn't have any biological relation to Alex, nor did he know anything about Alex's late parents. That spiteful man just manipulated people in any way to his advantage. Alex was disgusted that he'd been used and lied to like this, so he set out to get revenge on his so-called uncle by changing his identity and bringing everything to light to give justice to my family. He then showed me everything he got from the secret files. All the dirty tricks Mr. Garcia had used to sabotage and take over the company. He'd even been leading the company down a dark path through lots of illegal antics. But then Alex told me that before becoming Martin, he'd bought a number of shares, and now he would transfer them to me so I could take back my family's company. I couldn't believe it. I immediately showed all the evidence to the board of directors, and right away, everything was resolved. Finally, Mr. Garcia was not only kicked out of the company, but he was also sent to prison for his unethical business practices. And it was all thanks to Alex. The person I'd held a grudge against the most had been the one to help me get back all that was lost. As for Alex and I, well, it's clear we still have feelings for each other, but after everything we've been through, I think it's best if we give it some time before we jump back into a relationship. Plus, Tom admitted he likes me, which, of course, was obvious, but I don't want to upset him. Only time will tell if Alex and I are meant to be. Wow, the International Ballet Contest is being held in New York this year! Oh my god, that must be spectacular! But, oh, how different my life was 5 years ago. I'd just won the City Ballet Contest, and Dad wouldn't stop grinning with pride. To celebrate, he was driving to get us ice cream. And suddenly, I don't remember much about that day after that. But I lost him. As for me, I survived. But I was left with life-changing injuries. Since then, ballet was no longer a part of my life. And over there is Aunt Robin and my cousin Nancy. They're super excited about the competition. I swear, Nancy has tried on 15 dresses already. Both my aunt and my mum, when she was alive, were gifted ballerinas. So, naturally, Nancy also inherited the ballet genes. She's now a student of the New York City Ballet. This is something I've always wished for, but now can only dream about. Suddenly, a slamming door and shouting startled me. Joyce, open the door! It's me, Dylan! I opened the door and stared wide-eyed at... Huh? Dylan, my half-brother. The last time I saw him was 5 years ago, when my stepmother took him away. What's he doing here? Before I'd had time to react or invite him inside, he rushed over to me. Sis, you have to save me. I'm gonna have to stay here, okay? What? Absolutely not. Do you have any idea whose house this is? So, it turns out his mom is a gambling addict, so she was in debt and on the run from thugs. Poor Dylan didn't have anyone else to turn to. I managed to persuade my aunt to let Dylan stay with us, although she was adamant that this was only temporary until his mom was found. Being a typical kid hitting their puberty phase, Dylan was not the easiest person to live with. And guess who had to cover for him each time? Yep, me. Last week, he broke the whole stack of dishes. Yesterday, he stuck chewing gum in Nancy's hair. And today, he left his skateboard in the middle of the living room and caused Aunt Robin to fly across the room and land flat on her face. Ouch. Dylan, you have to be more careful. I'll be leaving for college soon, so I won't be here to cover for you. He'll kick you out if you're still like this. Huh? College? Do you mean boring business administration? I thought you liked ballet, don't you? No, that was just the past. Now I don't like it. At all. I don't believe you. Is it just 'cause you're sitting on a wheelchair? Who says being in a wheelchair means you can't continue pursuing your passion for ballet? This left me dumbfounded. His words had awakened something in me, but the reality is not that simple. So I sadly replied, "It's not just that. I don't have any money either. I tried to apply for some part-time jobs, but they don't accept people with disabilities." Sensing my unhappiness at talking about this, Dylan immediately changed the topic. "Okay, let's just forget about those dumb things. Tomorrow, I'm gonna take you shopping." Oh, it's been a long time since I visited the mall. Dylan kept asking me if I like this, like that, but we don't have enough money. Ugh, why doesn't Aunt Robin give us pocket money? Dylan looked so cute at that moment, so I just sat there and laughed, while he frowned and pouted. Then, Dylan suddenly told me to stay still. When he closed his eyes and fumbled around towards two people who looked kinda rich, and told them, "Please help us. We have nothing left to eat this week. Please." Oh my God, what was my brother playing at? I froze and couldn't do anything besides look down at the floor. The woman took out the money and was about to hand it to him, but the guy swiped her hand, causing the bill to fall to the ground. Dylan quickly picked it up. Oh my. The man immediately grabbed his wrist. Busted! He threatened to take us to the cops and even asked me to stand up, as he thought I was also pretending. Luckily, the woman said they were in a rush, so they wouldn't make it complicated, so finally they left us alone. We came home, but our hearts were still pumping hard, and I could see Dylan's legs were trembling. Then we went inside to see that my aunt had guests. I gawped when I saw who they were. The rich people from the mall! The four of us goggle-eyed at each other in shock. Turns out that woman, Bernie, was my aunt's friend, and the man with her was her son, Philip. They're both famous ballet dancers. Talk about awkward atmosphere! But Nancy seemed oblivious to the tension, as she was too busy fluttering her eyelashes at Philip and twirling her hair around her finger. But the strange thing was, even with my lowered gaze, I could still see Philip looking at me. Then he suddenly asked me, "How long have you been like this? I mean, no offense. I'm just curious." So, Aunt Robin started telling them about my life and my condition. Hearing that, Bernie got emotional. She looked at me for a second and asked, "Sweetie, how are things going for you? Are you still doing ballet?" No. She's interested in business now. She'll enroll this fall." Bernie paused for a while, then smiling said, "Oh, that's great. I'm happy that you found yourself something you love." I don't know why I felt so sad, so I excused myself to leave the table. Dylan followed me and handed me an envelope. I looked inside and it was full of money. "I only have this much, but please take it and go take ballet classes again." My heart stopped. How could he afford it? But then he didn't give me time to say anything when he took the money back saying, "Oh, or just let me enroll you." And surprisingly, he really did. Dylan found a center that had scholarships for students with disabilities. Since then, I went back to the ballet. It was like I was alive again. Every day I was eager to wake up to follow my passion. And I was also practicing for the International Ballet Contest in New York. One time after practice, I saw someone over by the door, watching me. Philip. I didn't know why, but as soon as I spotted him, my heart fluttered. He walked over to me, and we started talking. Turns out, he teaches at this center. After that, he always spent time helping me during practice, and we seemed to be a good pair. But good things didn't last long. That day I was practicing with Philip when a voice called out, "Joyce, why are you here?" I turned around startled to see a glaring Nancy standing at the door of the practice room. It turns out that Nancy came to meet and greet with her students in our center and accidentally spotted Philip helping me. Maybe she was upset because we looked quite close? After that, we met in the bathroom. Then Nancy asked me, "I know you don't have $1 to your name, so who gave you money for this?" "Oh, it was Dylan." "Stop telling lies. He's just some dumb kid. I hardly imagine he has a spare $1,500 to pay for 6 months of lessons." "You asked Phil to pay for you, right?" "Stop acting weak to get other sympathy. That doesn't sound like something my sweet cousin would normally do, does it?" "So, did Dylan lie to me? This course isn't a scholarship for people with disabilities?" "No way!" I immediately packed my stuff to go home and to speak to Dylan about this. But on my way out, I bumped into Philip. So I asked him if it's true there's no such scholarship at this center. But he just sighed and led me to a quiet place to talk. And you know what? He admitted that it's him who actually had planned out everything with Dylan, and even said that he liked me and wanted to help me. I was shocked, but deep down, I was also kinda happy hearing that, as I did like him. But I felt like I was a burden, and Nancy also liked him, so I rejected him. Nancy wasn't the same after that. Whenever our eyes met each other, she tutted, then looked away. Then one time, I found my ballet shoes soaked in coffee. And another time there was even a note in my bag saying, "Don't chase after Philip, 'cause you can't run, LOL. It had to be my lovely cousin who did these things, right? I felt upset a bit at first, but I didn't have time for her games. I had a competition to practice for. Then, the day before the performance, I arrived home to overhear Aunt Robin in the living room FaceTiming Bernie. "Hey, you should send more money. Joyce is partaking in a ballet competition this time, so it's rather costly." "Really? But you told me she wasn't interested in ballet anymore. In any case, why didn't she take the ballet scholarship for the New York City Ballet?" "Stop going off topic. Remember, you were the culprit to the death of my brother-in-law and the legs of my niece. So, you have to take the blame for this whole life. And now you can't even see fit to spare what is loose change for you to fund her dream?" What? What were they talking about? I was so shocked that I dropped my grocery bag on the floor. Aunt Robin turned around and saw me. Realizing I'd overheard everything, she beckoned me into the room and told me the whole tragic story. It turns out that the person who caused the accident was none other than Bernie. She'd crossed the road without looking, which caused my dad to steer to avoid her and crash into a tree. After that, she ran away, as she was so panicked and feared that it would affect her reputation. Through her friendship with Aunt Robin, she knew about my situation and still had been sending monthly money to compensate for me. What about the scholarship Miss Bernie was talking about? Well, you can't attend that school anyway, so it's better to let Nancy take it, isn't it? What? I can't believe my aunt would do that. She knows how much I love ballet. I've always thought Aunt Robin was so good to give me a home, when in reality, she was using me, so Bernie would invest in Nancy's ballet career. The word disappointment cannot fully describe my feelings at that moment. The hurt was almost unbearable. I woke up feeling dreadful, but I forced myself to get ready and headed to the competition. It was bustling there, just like me inside. I didn't bother to watch the other performances until Nancy's. She was very graceful, and the judges said she did very well. However, I felt like it was missing something. And now, it was my turn. I looked down to the crowd and saw there was Bernie, Dylan, and Philip. They all smiled and clapped their hands when the MC called my name. I took a deep breath and was about to go out on the stage when, passing me, Nancy leaned over and whispered, "Philip doesn't really care about you. He just feels guilty about what his mom did. Don't go embarrass him by messing up." Suddenly, I felt like I couldn't move. I forgot all the movements, and the world was spinning around. But a familiar voice woke me up. "Joyce, you're better than this. We're all here for you, so don't be scared. You're the light. Don't let the dark bother you. Let's shine and show them what you have." I was so touched, and it worked. I regained my spirit and just went with the flow. Like a swan that had been restrained for so long, I just did what I wanted to do. I didn't care about anything, anyone. This moment, I'll live for myself. And maybe the judges felt that too. I burst with happiness to hear that. "Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of this contest is Joyce Baker." Everyone came to congratulate me, including Bernie. She tried to fight back tears as she apologized for everything. The past is the past, and I know what happened was a terrible accident. It's something she will always have to live with, and that seems penance enough. So I hugged her and told her it was okay, because what matters was that I could dance again, and it felt fantastic. So what's next? Well, I didn't go to business school. Instead, I'm continuing with my ballet. I'm also undergoing treatment for my condition, and I hope that one day I will be able to be up there on stage, performing with Philip. Speaking of Philip, thanks to his help, Dylan and I moved into our own house, and Dylan has just got a scholarship into a prestigious high school, which he seems to be enjoying. Oh, and one more thing. Philip and I are now officially dating. And this is it, the happy ending of my fairy tale. Guys, keep chasing your dream, despite hardship, because all good things are waiting for you.
Hey, what's with the long face? Oh, hey, it's nothing, just a bad day. You know you can tell me everything, right? I'm your best friend, so I know when something is up with you. Spit it out. Okay, you're right, as always. I think you should hang on to something, because this is shocking news. Oh my god, who is that? He looks so gorgeous. Sue, are you even listening? Huh? What did you just say? I turned to him, but he mumbled out typical, then walked away. Jeez, what's his problem? Oh, that was Lucas earlier, my best friend since kindergarten. Don't mind him, he's always like this. But whatever, let's get back to this handsome guy. So it turns out his name is Alex, and he's new here. I knew it, because such a pretty boy like him would never go unnoticed by me. The next morning, I couldn't wait to walk to school with Lucas. I had some amazing news to tell him. It happened to me the night before, during my shift at the diner. Lucas, you won't believe who was in the diner yesterday. Robert Downey Jr.? What? No, it was Alex, the new student. Gosh, Lucas, you've got to help me get his attention. You're on the baseball team together, right? Huh? Do you like that guy? Seriously? Duh. I mean, look at him. He's like Timothée Chalamet's twin brother. So will you help me? Please? Ugh, fine. I did hear him say he likes girls on roller skates. I have an idea. The next time he comes to the diner, serve him on skates. It's a sure way to impress him. Oh, yes, that's a great idea. I hugged Lucas to thank him. So the next time Alex came into the diner, I took out my roller skates and was ready to serve him his spaghetti. I'm kinda a novice on skates, so I slowly slid over to him. So far, so good, until I didn't see that somebody had spilled their milkshake all over the floor. And yes, of course, I slipped. Oh no! I quickly covered my head to avoid the spaghetti plate, but, The plate had fallen on the floor, but where was the spaghetti? I looked around. Oh, snap! I found it! It landed on Alex's head! It was so humiliating, but worse still, as hard as I tried, I couldn't get back on my feet. Ugh, stupid skates! I repeatedly apologized to him. At first, Alex looked totally shocked. Then, perhaps because of my pathetic look, he couldn't hold it in anymore and burst out laughing. Well, at least you dared to slide on them. I, on the other hand, am not a big fan of those. What? What did he mean by that? Ugh, Lucas! The next day, I went looking for Lucas to confront him. He was easy to find, as he was in his favorite place to browse in town, the sneaker store. Why did you tell me Alex likes roller skates? Because he definitely doesn't. Maybe I misheard him. Oh, wait, he likes girls in superhero costumes. That's right. What? That sounds ridiculous. Forget it, I'm not listening to you anymore. Go give your advice to some other poor girl, not me. What's up with Lucas? Why would he give me such bad advice? It's like he wanted me to fail. But why? Oh my goodness. Was he, maybe, into me? Nah, nonsense. Still, I had a feeling about it. So I decided to avoid Lucas as much as possible. I came up with loads of excuses not to hang out with him, such as Mom was driving me to school, and I was skipping lunch because I was on a diet. Ugh, it was so exhausting. I mean, have you ever tried sneakily eating your lunch in class so you don't pass out from hunger? However, this was necessary, as we both needed some space. It's the only way to keep our friendship safe. But then one day, Lucas messaged me. Can we talk after school? I have something important to tell you. Oh no. Was he going to confess his feelings? But if he did it, our friendship would be ruined. I couldn't let that happen, so I didn't meet him. Instead, I ran straight home. He called me a bunch of times, but I ignored them all. I ghosted him, to be exact. Jeez, I wasn't proud, but I had to save our friendship from stupid Cupid. But then the next time I saw him, he only gave me a hurt look, then purposely walked off in the other direction. Oh no. Now it was basically like a cold war between us. Ugh. We might not have been hanging out with each other, but I was still keeping an eye on Lucas. I'd been watching him for a couple of days, and it looked like he was having a tough time. He must have figured out my rejection, so now he was miserable. Oh, dear Lucas, I didn't want this to happen, but I can't risk losing our friendship. But then I noticed something. One time, the whole school went on a picnic trip. I watched Lucas from afar and noticed that he was giving dagger looks to a bunch of girls. Hang on. They were surrounding Alex. I even saw him trip another girl up who was going to join the group of girls adoring Alex, and then he made out it was an accident. Another time I overheard him telling girls from other classes who were standing by the class door trying to get a glimpse of Alex that he pretended to be all cold and quiet because he had hideous teeth. Which, of course, wasn't true, because he had a smile that could light up a room. Looks like it wasn't just me. Lucas didn't want any other girls going near Alex. Did he hate Alex that much? Or he likes Alex? For heaven's sake! Stop thinking such nonsense, Sue! Your head was messing with you. Then one day, my mom heard that Lucas's mom was sick, so she made some chicken soup and told me to bring it over to his mom. I didn't want to go around there. I mean, what if I saw Lucas? Awkward. But who was I to deny a sick lady's soup? When I arrived, I opened the door and let myself in as I usually do. And that's when I heard the conversation between Lucas and his mom. Lucas, do you need to forget about Alex? I want to, but I can't, Mom. He's always on my mind. Anyway, the important thing is your health. You need to eat something. Look at you, you're not getting any better. How can I eat after your dad left us? It's like all this time I've been living in a lie. I'm so sorry. Wait a moment. My Sherlock Holmes intuition was kicking in. Now everything makes sense. Why Lucas was sad for a couple of days, why I hadn't seen his dad for a while, and why his mom was suddenly sick. It's because Lucas was gay. His father probably didn't take it so well, so he left, which was really devastating for Lucas's mom. But I'm his best friend. Why didn't he tell me? Man, he hid it really well. But not only that, he also tried to sabotage me when he knew I had a crush on Alex. Well, it turns out we weren't best friends like I thought. But no, I couldn't just ignore this. I needed to talk to Lucas to clear things up. The next day, Lucas had baseball practice, so I went to find him at the field, but he wasn't there. I asked some of his teammates, but nobody knew where he was. Where could he have gone? And that's when I saw Lucas with Alex behind the bleachers. Well. Look at them. All lovey-dovey. They talked for a bit, then each of them walked away in a different direction. I watched them from a distance with my arms folded. That traitor! I was so ready to yell in Lucas's face. And that's when our eyes met. He was startled when he saw me, like he'd just been busted. Well, it was technically the correct word to describe the situation. Sue, what are you doing here? Why do you look so flustered? Come on, I know about your relationship between you and Alex, so you don't need to hide it anymore. How did you know about it? I heard you and your mom talking about it, but I don't understand. How could you do this to me? You knew that I liked Alex. I know, but I couldn't explain. I was so ashamed. You should have talked to me first, but instead you stole Alex from me. Best friends don't do that to each other. Hold on a minute. What did you just say? I stole Alex from you? What do you mean? Ugh, come on. Just stop with all this hiding and lying. I know you two are together. What? Why was he overreacting like this? Was what I just said not true? Well, turns out it wasn't. I was totally wrong. Just one thing was for sure. My detective intuition sucked. And that's when Lucas told me the truth. Lucas and Alex weren't in love. Lucas even hated Alex because he's Lucas's half-brother. Oh my. It's like I got lost in a telenovela or something. When my mom was pregnant with me, my dad got drunk and made a big mistake with a colleague of his. She fell pregnant with Alex, but my dad didn't know about it. Then, a month ago, Alex's mom was diagnosed with a serious illness. She didn't want him to end up alone if she couldn't make it, so she showed up in Dad's life again and messed everything up. Oh my God. So that's why Lucas's mom all of a sudden got so skinny and sick. And Lucas's dad didn't leave them. No, it's because his mom kicked his dad out of the house. I wanted to tell you in the canteen the other day, but you were too starry-eyed over Alex to listen. This made me mad, so I tried everything to prevent you from getting close to him. My family's broken because of him, so I don't want my best friend to fall for someone like that. Oh, it turns out I'm a really bad friend. My best friend had problems at home, and I didn't even know it. No, because I was busy daydreaming about a guy I barely knew. I apologized to Lucas and promised that I would pay more attention to him, and then we hugged. On the plus side, at least none of my crazy theories were true. So it turns out it was all just one big misunderstanding. The Cold War between us ended, and our friendship remains as amazing as ever. I also managed to convince Lucas and Alex to give each other a chance. After all, they're half-brothers, and what happened between their parents wasn't their fault. Besides, Alex's mom is seriously ill, so he needs Lucas more than ever. It's great hanging out with them both and seeing them laughing and joking about. Peace at last. The three of us have become pretty great friends. Oh, do you want to hear something funny? Lucas actually offered to matchmake me with Alex. But it's okay. I refused. Why, you ask? Well, the three of us are such awesome friends now, and I don't want anything to ruin that. Pretty mature of me, right?
This was like a dream come true. That gorgeous man in front of me is Ethan. My crush since I was just 14. Back then, Ethan was my dad's business partner. So he'd often come over to our house for dinner. For years, I adored him in secret. But now, at 19, I could finally be honest about my feelings. So when I ran into him by chance in the grocery store, I felt like it was meant to be. He invited me for a drink in the cafe nearby, and we instantly hit it off. We started dating. And now, we're an official couple. There's just one thing that worries me. Ethan is recently divorced and has a 10-year-old daughter, Clarice, who he has full-time. While daydreaming, I couldn't hide away from the thought of being someone's stepmom. Oh my, I didn't want to become a mom yet. Don't worry, Clarice is a cute kid. I just know you two will get along. Clarice gave me a devious smile the moment she saw me. Another fish got hooked. Huh? Hey, that's not the right manner. Apologize, now! Ethan immediately said. Clarice let out a loud, ugh, then reluctantly apologized. Great! When has it ever been easy to be friends with a naughty 10-year-old girl? I understand this better than most, as I have a little sister. She's either giving me a headache or crazing at me for candy, and I could tell that Clarice was gonna be no different. One day, Ethan called me in a panic, saying he had an urgent business trip.
They informed me at the very last minute. I didn't have time to find a babysitter. Can you help me take care of Clarice for a few days?
What? I've only just met the girl, and now I have to mind her for a few days? I still didn't know what to say when Ethan continued.
I'll make it up to you after this.
And then, the next thing I knew, Clarice was at my front door. Oh gosh, somebody help me! Well, you know those girls that age, like my little sister? I kept pouring out while Mike just smiled and slightly shook his head. I have to make her like me to win over Ethan. So, lovely Mike, can you please come hang out with us? Seriously? Please? Aren't you good with the ladies? Fine. You know I can't say no to you. I took Clarice to a theme park. She frowned the moment she saw Mike. Who's this? I don't like strangers. I smiled and said, This is Mike. He's really cool and I don't care. Cindy, what kind of situation did you drag me into? Man, I had to ask myself that question. This wasn't what I envisioned it to be. The outing turned into a competition between them. Clarice challenged Mike to play game after game with her until she won. In the end, they played with the water guns, and I knew for sure Mike let her win. But as soon as he let go of his water gun, Clarice squirted water all over him, leaving him completely drenched. Oops. What on earth is this? That's the price for the loser. Okay, Cindy, that's enough. Have fun. And he stormed off. Oh no, what have I done to him? I stood there dumbfounded, staring at Clarice. Okay, so it was kind of funny, but I couldn't laugh at my poor friend. I want ice cream. Clarice grinned, then skipped away. Ice cream. A girl after my own heart. On the way home, we talked so much about her fave show, The Babysitter's Club, and how Stacy is her favorite character. Maybe the day wasn't so bad after all. A few days later, Ethan returned, and I was really excited to see him.
Thank you so much for taking care of Clarice.
Meanwhile, I noticed Clarice was slowly backing out, with an awkward look on her face. I thought she'd be as happy as me to see him, but it didn't seem that way.
Darling, are you okay? Are you sick?
I'm okay. I need to go to my room. After that, at dinner, the question, "Are you sick?" was raised no less than 10 times, and it made me feel sick too. I said I'm not sick, and I don't want to see a doctor. Ethan, I think Clarice is fine, so maybe stop asking her. Hearing that, Ethan seemed uncomfortable and turned away. Weird. What was wrong with them? Maybe this was just something they did. Whatever it is, I wasn't enjoying this heavy atmosphere. The next day after lunch, Clarice was helping me clean the table while Ethan was packing to go on his next trip. She insisted on washing the dishes while I said goodbye to Ethan. We were hugging in the doorway when suddenly I heard a loud scream coming from the kitchen. Ethan and I both rushed in there and saw Clarice crying as she gripped her hand. Ethan frantically asked,
"What happened?"
while I quickly searched for a first aid kit. I was washing the dishes, but I accidentally cut my hand. Cindy, I'm sorry. I wasn't being careful. Please don't punish me. What? What was she talking about? Ethan seemed to have the same question as me. Cindy always makes me do the chores. She told me if I do them badly, I can't have dinner. Huh? Why was she saying things that weren't true? Turning pale with shock, I muttered out, "No, that's not true. I don't want to stay here. Dad, let me go home." Clarice interrupted me as she was crying harder.
"I'm so sorry, but I have to go now. I don't even know if you're lying or not."
"How can you say that to me?" Clarice shouted. "You monster!" Then she ran upstairs. I stood there not knowing what to do. My brain couldn't process what just happened. Ethan looked at me and sighed. Why didn't he say anything? He didn't honestly think I was capable of doing that. Did he? I decided I needed to confront Clarice about this. So I went up to her room and calmly said, "Clarice, why did you say that?"
"You forced me to do all the chores."
"What? How can you lie like that? I never do such a thing."
"Oh, but are people gonna believe you or a poor little girl?"
Oh my God. There was me, thinking she was a sweet kid, when in actual fact, she was the complete opposite. I rushed outside and, shaking, I pulled my phone out. I called Mike and told him everything. "Oh boy, that kid is complicated. Maybe she doesn't want you to be with her dad. But even so, what she did was weird. I think you should stay away from them." But how to? I couldn't just run away. Besides, Ethan was on his trip, again, and I was in charge of her. So I kept my distance, no more talking or having fun. But it seemed that Clarice had other ideas. I was watching TV in the living room when Clarice appeared and pulled my shirt.
"Cindy, I want you to play video games with me."
The more silent I was, the harder she pulled. "No, Clarice, I'm not in the mood," I shouted. "Go play by yourself." Then I walked off. A few minutes later, Cass, a senior student, came over to give me some documents. We sat down and had some iced tea. Then suddenly, bam! And a cry. Oh no! Cass and I rushed to the noise. Clarice had fallen down the stairs in the basement and was surrounded by the laundry basket and dirty clothes. Cass quickly ran down there and helped her up. "Are you okay? What happened?"
"Cindy told me to do the laundry in time. The basket was so full, so I slipped."
No, no, no! I screamed inside my head when Cass gave me a concerned look. "Cass, please, I'll explain later. Can you please leave?" "Why?" I screamed at Clarice's face the moment Cass left.
"If you don't play with me, you'll be a child abuser. You'll have to go to jail."
Ugh, this is driving me crazy. Just a few days ago, she wanted her dad to take her away from here, and now she's blackmailing me for not playing with her? Right at that moment, Ethan called. "Hi, Cindy. I just want to check on you too. Is Clarice sick or anything?" Ugh, what on earth is this? Am I crazy? Or are these two actually weird? OMG. I need Mike. Now. "Please, take me away from here," I said as I opened the door for Mike. "Stop!" Clarice shouted. "You two can't go anywhere." "Oh, now you're telling me what not to do?"
"If you go, I'll tell the whole world how badly you've been treating me. You'll both go to jail."
"So that's your scam?" Her smirk disappeared. She turned pale and stuttered.
No, it was my dad's."
"Your dad's scam?" Clarice looked flustered as she realized what she had just blurted out. Then she quickly covered it up.
"Nothing."
Mike sat down and looked at her with stern eyes. I stood there, waiting for the answer.
My daddy made me."
Eventually, Clarice confessed. Turns out, Ethan was a professional scammer who scams young, wealthy girls into giving him money. Worse, he dragged his daughter into his scheme. The plan went like this. He used his handsome looks to flirt with the girls, then Clarice's cuteness to get the girls' empathy. After that, he would go on some last-minute business trip and ask them to take care of Clarice. Meanwhile, Clarice would pretend to be seriously sick. When Ethan arrived back, he would persuade the girls to hand over money for hospital fees, then he and Clarice would disappear out of their lives.
"At first he told me to do what he said and he'd get me a bike."
"What about the abusing lie you made up?" I asked, still shocked. I made up that excuse so Dad would take me away. I really like you, so I don't want his plan to work.
Then why did you continue to act up?
Because Cindy was mad at me, and I wanted her to play with me, so I pulled that trick again.
Tears streamed down my face. Unbelievable! I voluntarily stepped into his trap right at the beginning. He didn't even have to do much. I felt like such an idiot. After that, we exposed Ethan. Clarice helped us too. Turns out he's bankrupt, which is why his wife left him and why he's no longer my dad's business partner. Ethan was arrested, but Clarice's mom was out of the country, and she refused to return for her daughter. To be honest, I love Clarice, and I didn't want her to live in the orphanage. So I let her live at my place for a while before I told my parents everything. Obviously, my parents have more capacity and power to deal with this. It took a while for Clarice to get over her guilt and settle in, but now we get on better than ever. She's a sweet, cute girl who deserves far better than her parents have given her. Then one day, I came back home from college to find Clarice placing some roses on the dining table, which was already romantically set up with candles and steak.
Cindy, you're back!
How can you prepare a full dinner like this? Clarice didn't say anything. She just giggled and ran to her room. Someone hugged me from behind. Would you mind being my date tonight? It was Mike. Thinking about it, I guess my perfect man was right under my nose this entire time. So, grinning, I turned around and replied, I thought you'd never ask.
Ugh, look at them flirting.
What an eyesore. But don't get it wrong. Trust me, this is no happy family. That woman there isn't my mom. She's Rochelle, our housemaid. I repeat, housemaid. But it looks like she has her sights set on becoming my stepmom. Ugh. We only hired her because after my mom passed away, Dad and I struggled to deal with our grief, and our clumsiness as well, so tidying the house didn't take priority. I suppose Rochelle was an okay maid. Can't deny that she's a good cleaner, and her cooking is tasty. However, recently, I've noticed that she always cooks Dad's favorite meals. Also, they laugh and flirt and constantly give each other these gooey-eyed looks. Yuck! Today, she even took out her handkerchief and attentively wiped my dad's sweaty forehead. Who does she think she is? She definitely wanted to hypnotize Dad. If she thought she'd have a slot in this house, she was totally wrong. I needed to do something about this. I had to talk to Dad right away. Dad, Mom didn't pass away that long ago, but it looks like you've already lined up her replacement. Didn't you hurt Mom enough by reconnecting with your ex right before she died?
What do you mean replacement? Brittany, you're being childish and unreasonable.
I don't know, and I don't care. But I want Rochelle to get out of our house immediately. She's for sure trying to get something out of you.
Okay, fine, if you insist. But make sure you find a new housemaid to replace her.
Ugh. So it turns out that finding a new maid who's actually good is nearly impossible. Dozens of people came to try out, but none of them were as considerate as Rochelle. Okay, after all, we still needed a maid, so I reluctantly let Rochelle stay until I found someone new. This didn't mean I was going to let my annoyance for her slide. I decided that while I was stuck in the same house as her, I may as well play some tricks on her to let out my anger. When she decided to cook, again, the divine chicken soup that my dad loved so much, I kindly added a little salt to make it more savory. But somehow, my dad still praised her delicious food. He must just be flattering her, right? So I tried it for myself. What? How could she do that? It tasted amazing. Ugh. Another time, I copied this trick I saw on TikTok by sticking layers of food wrap on Rochelle's door, then acting like there was an emergency. Quick! The oven is making weird noises. I think something's burning. Rochelle quickly ran out of the room and I couldn't help but laugh my head off. Her face was really funny. She then gave me this bewildered look and smiled helplessly. Ugh. Why did this woman never get mad? Okay then, let's step it up a notch. I decided to play the ultimate trick. Knowing that Rochelle was scared to death of cockroaches, I cut a cockroach shape out of paper and put it behind the fabric of her nightlight. That night, I was dozing off when I heard a screechy scream, "Ah!" coming from Rochelle's room. Aha! Success! But she was so terrified that she fainted. Oops! Do you know what the most annoying thing is? Even after all the trouble I've caused her, Rochelle was still super sweet to me. She was always offering me cookies and asking me about my day and stuff. I felt like she was trying to play the role of a mother, and I didn't like that at all. She couldn't fool me. I knew she only put up with me to please my dad. Thanks to Rochelle, I could never be at ease, even in my own home. But recently, a very special person has come into my life and lit up my mood. It was totally by chance. That day, it had rained like crazy, so there were puddles everywhere. I was on my way home from the grocery store when a car drove whizzing by. I thought I was going to get a free bath, but then suddenly, an arm pulled me back and shielded me with his body. Just like in a romantic movie, standing there was a boy, soaking wet, asking if I was okay. Aww, he had totally swept me off my feet. We walked together for a while, and he told me his name's Chris, and he lives in the next neighborhood. That's it! I needed to find a way to impress Chris and also thank him for helping me. So, after some careful thinking, I decided to bake him a cake. I'd seen Rochelle bake before. It looked easy peasy. So I baked one and gave some to my best friend Sue to try. But she spat it out and said, "Ew, gross." I sadly sat in the kitchen, staring at my pathetic cake, and wondered where I'd done wrong. That's when Rochelle stepped into the room. But to my surprise, instead of laughing at me, she patted me on the shoulder.
Come here. I'll teach you how to cook.
Rochelle was a good cook, so I'd be stupid not to learn from her. This doesn't mean I like her, though. I just want to win my crush's heart. So after that, each day after school, Rochelle gave me a cooking lesson. Okay, so maybe she wasn't as bad as I first thought. We tried out different recipes together and came up with our own perfect formula. And finally, I could bake a lovely heart-shaped chocolate cake by myself to confess my love to Chris. And you know what? He said yes. I was so deeply in love with Chris that I totally forgot about my conflict with Rochelle. Chris often came over to my place. My dad and Rochelle loved him. So now, besides my dad's favorite food, Rochelle also makes Chris's favorites too. She's incredible. She could remember everything Chris loves and hates, even the trivia, like he's allergic to peanuts. We were just like a family, and I have to admit, it felt kinda good. And then, out of literally nowhere, the shock of my life happened. My dad passed away from cancer. I didn't even know he was ill. As you might guess, I totally broke down and didn't want to do anything after that. My mom and dad had both left me, just within a single year. But at least I still had Rochelle and Chris beside me. Rochelle took care of me like I was her actual daughter. I was going through such a tough time in life, but having them around made me feel like I wasn't completely alone. The grief had to fade away eventually, and it's gonna be okay from now on, I thought. Until one day, I was baking cupcakes when my dad's lawyer appeared and showed me the will. Turns out, my dad had left the house to me, but only on the condition that I had a guardian, some woman named Laura. Huh? That's odd. I don't know anyone named Laura, but wait, I think I've heard this name from someone. Oh, my mom. When she was in her last days, Mom once told me that my dad had been talking to his ex again, and her name was Laura. Could it be her? Did he seriously make his ex my guardian? Unbelievable! I had to get to the bottom of this. But how could I find this mystery Laura? I had no family. Well, besides my Uncle Colin, who was living in France. So I contacted him and told him everything.
He flew back at once, and although I hadn't seen him in years, I couldn't hold back my emotions and ended up sobbing on his shoulder. And then he told me the horrible truth. Laura is none other than the woman who had just walked through the door. It was Rochelle, the woman who had been living in my house. I couldn't believe my ears. What on earth is going on? So Rochelle moving in was no coincidence? My dad sneakily snuck her in as a maid so they could be together? My pain and disappointment were overwhelming, but I had to calm down so I could think rationally. I knew I needed to be smart and outplay Rochelle at her own game. Since then, I started watching Rochelle and noticed something strange. Rochelle and Chris were a bit too close and intimate. I often saw them whispering to each other when they thought I wasn't looking. What did this mean? Could it be that Rochelle was trying to coax my boyfriend into one of her dark schemes? Or, worse still, was the guy I loved cheating on me with an older woman? My suspicions deepened. When a few days later, Chris told me he was sick, so I had to take the school bus for a couple of days. And Rochelle also asked me for a few days off. Could it just be coincidence? I didn't think so. So I decided to be a detective for once. Right after Rochelle left, I started following her. And with no surprise, she went to my boyfriend's house.
Hi, Mom!
Excuse me? Mom? She's his mom? So that means she not only flirted with my father, but also planted her son to distract me to take over my family's property? I trusted them. How could they be so cruel? Suddenly, I remembered a detail that I didn't notice until now. After eating the food she'd cooked, for some reason, my father became weaker and weaker and eventually passed away. Did she poison him? If that's the case, then she really is a poisonous snake in human disguise. I immediately broke up with Chris and fired Rochelle, then went home and told Uncle Colin everything. At least I had him on my side.
Now what we need to do is refute her custody of the property. I'll take care of everything, and you just have to do what I say.
Then, Uncle Colin helped me prepare a lawsuit against Rochelle and her son for fraud. Those two will pay the price for what they did to my father and me. Oh, but the thing is, now Rochelle didn't live here. It felt so empty. I was so angry with her, but I also found myself missing her too. I loved and trusted her. And Chris too. And feelings like that don't just vanish overnight. But when I was still thinking about it, there was the lawyer. Again! And he was accompanied by Uncle Colin. What's happening now?
Miss Brittany Jensen hereby transfers the entire estate of 25 Oakwell House to Mr. Colin Jensen, as signed by both parties.
Huh? Signed? When did I sign that? I snatched the paper and shouted, "Scam! I never saw this paper! Uncle, what is this? Please say something."
I don't know. Just follow the legal documents.
No. So Uncle Colin was just pretending to care, when really he just wanted to trick me into signing over my house? Oh God. Thinking about it, it must have been that day. The day where he gave me a bunch of papers to sign, claiming that they were about me suing Rochelle and Chris. OMG, the lying con! At the time, I'd been so upset that I only skimmed the first page without looking at the following ones. I was too careless.
From tomorrow, Miss Brittany Jensen will have to return all assets to Mr. Colin Jensen. You have 24 hours to prepare.
I tried shouting at my uncle, and then I tried reasoning with him, but he didn't care. He just smirked at me and told me that he was just taking what was rightfully his. Ugh, what a vile man. So now, I have nothing left. I was kicked out of my own house and deceived by my own uncle. I don't know why I accidentally passed Chris's house just as he opened the door to take a delivery, and our eyes met. I turned and started to run away, but Chris caught up with me and grabbed my hand. Even after the awful way I treated them both, Rochelle and Chris still invited me inside and made me dinner. I ashamedly told them what happened, Then Rochelle told me everything. It turns out that my father found out that he had cancer a while ago, but he didn't tell me because he saw how upset I was after losing Mom, and he was afraid I would worry too much. Rochelle saw his health deteriorating and figured out what was wrong, so she volunteered to take care of him because she still cared for him. But as a friend, nothing more. As for the will, my dad understood Uncle Colin all too well and didn't trust him, so he gave custody to Rochelle. But unexpectedly, in the end, I still stupidly fell into his trap.
As for Chris, I really didn't know you two knew each other until you brought him home. But at that time, I didn't want to confess I was his mother and affect your relationship. I'm sorry, Brittany.
Britt, please stay here with me and Mom. We'll get through this tough time together, okay?
That's right, darling. No matter what, we'll never abandon you.
I'm sorry. I misunderstood you both.
It's okay. Everything will be fine from now on. You'll never have to do this alone.
Yeah, every dog has its day. This is totally not wrong. My life is nothing like my previous wealthy one, but I have something that my conniving, vulturous uncle doesn't have, and that's people who love and care about me. What my uncle did was wrong, and Rochelle and Chris are helping me to make a legal case against him. As for now, well, I still haven't given up on my passion for cooking and still practice with my master every day. And you know what? I just won first prize at the city cooking competition. Right, I better go, as I have a big treat planned for I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. My God, I was so nervous. You see, this was my first day as an intern in this super big company. On one hand, anxiety wouldn't stop creeping up on me. But on the other hand, I actually couldn't wait to begin working in this fancy professional office. Having my own desk, my own PC, doing all the paperwork. So exciting! But, well, it didn't exactly turn out as I expected. All I did on my first day was make a lot of coffees, get everyone's lunch, and do endless printing. Oh, I forgot to introduce you to my team. This over here is Quinn, our team leader. And then the girl over there is Sadie. That guy sitting in the corner is Bob. And I'm the adorable Lauren. Then, while I was bringing yet another coffee and cake to each one of them to get to know them better, the manager, Caleb, came to our department and began yelling at Quinn.
Why have I still not received the report on the working project?
Sorry, boss. We're kinda short-handed.
Short-handed, huh? Then how come every time I walk past, I see the intern doing meaningless things? I didn't hire her to wait on you guys. Is that clear?
Then Caleb looked at me and said,
You, intern, in my office.
I followed Caleb into his office, feeling all anxious. Did I do something wrong? Then suddenly, Caleb hugged me from behind. I got so startled that I immediately pushed him away. What are you doing? You can't do that here.
Sorry. Just seeing you here makes me so happy. But what's with the tense face?
Oh, I never saw you yelling at somebody, so it was kinda scary.
That? Oh, that's nothing.
You're probably wondering why my manager was hugging me. Well, actually, Caleb is my boyfriend. You see, I was in my last semester of college. I told him that I wanted to do an internship because it would be good for me, so he insisted that I do it in his company. At first, I didn't think it was a good idea. I mean, couples that work together don't stay together, right? But he managed to convince me otherwise, so here I am. Even so, I didn't want anyone in the office to know about our relationship. Therefore, I didn't let him drive me to work, and having lunch together is also a no-no. Caleb had no comment about this. He probably understood why this was necessary. But then one day, at the end of the meeting with our department, Caleb was about to walk out of the meeting room when he suddenly stopped, turned around, and said in front of all,
Oh, by the way, I just want you all to know that Lauren is my girlfriend. Okay, bye.
Oh my God! Why on earth did he do that? Everybody immediately turned and stared at me with shocked expressions. And me, well, I just wanted to slide down the chair and hide under the table. I stormed into Caleb's office and demanded an explanation.
Yesterday I had lunch with a manager of another department, and he said that he liked you and wanted to ask you out. So I thought it's best to inform everyone that you're my girlfriend. Am I right?
What? Ugh, no! Men and their dumb egos! Ugh! Anyway, I hoped that it wouldn't affect anything. But as I feared, it did. Massively so. The moment everyone found out I was Caleb's girlfriend, they started treating me differently. Every time I walked into the room, they immediately stopped talking and gave me awkward looks. Or after work, they would go out for some drinks but purposely not invite me. It sucked being left out like that. And then one day, it got much worse. I arrived at the office extra early as there was an email I needed to send out before 9. But my PC wouldn't turn on, so I got under the table trying to see if a cable was loose. Right at that moment, Bob and Sadie walked into the office gossiping.
Clearly Lauren only got that internship because she's Caleb's girlfriend. And did you see her clothes? All those expensive brands? Well, having a boyfriend who's the manager in a big company must be blissful.
What? I never accept expensive gifts from Caleb. They're all mine. Then during work, I accidentally took a glimpse at Quinn's computer screen and saw that they were chatting about me in a group chat. Something about me not having to do errands just because my boyfriend's the manager. Hearing and reading all these mean comments made me feel really frustrated, so I wasn't in any mood to work that whole morning. Then in the afternoon, we had a meeting about the project we were all working on, and Caleb asked me to hand him the report. Oh snap. I'd totally forgotten to do it. Sorry. I haven't written the report yet.
Can I ask why? And what were you doing this entire morning? For the sake of our team, please focus. We can't mess this project up.
I'm just having a lot going on, okay? Interns are humans too. Jeez, I'll send you the report by the end of the day, boss. Everybody gave me befuddled looks. Caleb most of all. But wait, I see some of them smiling. Were those smiles for me? Then after the meeting, everyone gathered around me, patted my shoulder, and praised me for standing up against Caleb. To be honest, it felt good to be noticed and not ridiculed. So maybe there was still a chance I could win them over, right? The next day at noon, Caleb came by the department to grab some lunch with me. But I told him, in front of everyone, that I wanted to have lunch with the team. He looked confused, but still had to agree. Lunch with the whole team was great. Except for one thing. They constantly kept asking me about Caleb. Like, what's he like outside the office? Why is he always so strict and grumpy? I noticed that they kind of liked talking about Caleb, so I told them, oh, Caleb is such a great boyfriend. He's very attentive and is an amazing cook. But they weren't interested in that. Oh no, they just cared about his bad habits. Ugh, fine. So I gave them what they wanted. Well, I don't like that he's always perfectly on time. I'm 1 minute late, and he begins to lecture me about how time is precious and we shouldn't waste it. That definitely caught everyone's attention right away. They really liked that, huh? I felt kind of guilty, but I couldn't deny how nice it was. That feeling when everyone was starting to like me, and it would be only this time, right? Well, how wrong I was. Because every time our team went out, they started gossiping about Caleb and then looked longingly at me until I badmouthed my boyfriend. Again. But to me, Caleb is the perfect man. He just has a few tiny flaws, but nothing major. So I decided to make stuff up. He sleep talks and never brushes his teeth before bed. And he burps a lot at home. Ugh, I hated it. But what can I do? The worse stuff I told them about Caleb, the more they seemed to like me. Then one day, Caleb invited some of the other managers to his apartment for some beer. Suddenly, a guy pointed at Caleb's beer and asked him if he should be drinking that, what with his gas problem. Oh no. Then this guy told a confusing-looking Caleb that everyone in the office was gossiping about him. Luckily for me, he just shrugged and said he didn't want to hear about idle gossip. Phew, that was close. But then something terrible happened. Some of my fake rumors reached Mr. Smith's ears, the general manager. One day I walked past Caleb's office and heard Mr. Smith yelling at him. Something about Caleb resigning as manager because there was a rumor that he pushed other staff who dared to argue with him to quit. Oh no! I only made that up on purpose so the others would be afraid of him and stop talking about him. It's all my fault. So as soon as Mr. Smith walked out of Caleb's room, I ran after him and said, "Please wait. I can explain."
What do you mean?
I took a deep breath to calm down. Then I began to explain to him that I was the one who spread that rumor and that it was 100% not true. Please don't force him to resign. It's all my fault.
Oh, sweetie. Why did you do that?
I'm sorry, Dad. I was stupid and acted like a child.
It's okay. But gotta say, I'm disappointed, Lauren. I will talk to Caleb later. Hope you've learned your lesson this time, and don't you ever do that again. Understood?
Yes, Dad. Then he walked away. I let out a sigh of relief when, suddenly...
Dad? Are you calling Mr. Smith Dad?
Oh no! I didn't notice that Caleb was standing behind us. Well, the truth was finally out. As you can see, Mr. Smith, the general manager of the company, is my dad. But nobody, not even Caleb, knew that. Then Caleb continued.
Why didn't you tell me that Mr. Smith is your father? And why did you spread that awful rumor about me, Lauren? Why did you do that to me? Do I look like a fool to you?
He got so mad that he was about to walk off. I quickly held his hand and began to explain. I didn't tell you Mr. Smith's my dad because I was afraid you'd feel pressured and wouldn't want to be with me anymore. Caleb didn't say anything. He just stood there silent. So I continued. About the rumor, I'm so sorry. I messed up, but please, you need to understand. From the moment everyone knew I was your girlfriend, they started gossiping about me and leaving me out. I felt so hurt and lonely when all I wanted to do was fit in. Until this one time, everyone talked to me again as I unintentionally complained about you, and they treated me like a friend after that. But they're always hungry for more gossip about you, so I had to make some up, and I eventually lost control. I'm so sorry, Caleb. Caleb let out a sigh, then hugged me.
I'm sorry that happened to you in the office. I didn't know you were struggling. Next time, you have to tell me. Don't hide things like that, okay?
I nodded with a smile and silently thanked my generous boyfriend. Yet I almost ruined his career just to please those talkative coworkers of mine. But fortunately, things turned out well between us in the end. Eventually, people found out that Mr. Smith was my father, 'cause, well, eyes and ears were everywhere in this company. You can't hide anything. Then they began to gossip that Caleb was only dating me because of the managing position. Man, they'll never stop, will they? But anyway, I don't care anymore. My internship soon ended, and I decided not to come back to this company, obviously. I will find a more suitable environment. But actually, the time as an intern there taught me an important lesson. That you shouldn't care what other people think of you, and just stay out of all that office drama. It's really exhausting.
It was a normal, boring day in the grocery store. I was stacking milk in the fridge when Camilla, my coworker, came and said, "Layla, you have to help me. I have this date tomorrow night, but I'm busy. Could you please go instead?" Wait, what? I don't even know your date. Besides, I have a boyfriend. Lincoln, remember? Then she began explaining to me about this dating service, and she assured me it was 100% legit. It was mainly lonely men who just wanted some company. All I had to do was talk to them, and of course, there was a strict no hugging or kissing policy. At the end of the date, they'd pay me. No thanks. No way I was gonna do that. After my shift, I went home to see my landlady lingering in my doorway. She started yelling at me that I still owed her 5 months' worth of rent, and if I didn't pay it by the end of the week, she'd kick me out. I begged her to give me more time, but it was pointless. My God, what to do? Where could I get that much money on such short notice? Oh, wait a minute. What about Camilla's dating service? It looks like I was out of choices, so I called her and agreed to go on the date. So here I am, on my weird date night. I put the most basic dress I could find on. Oh boy, I sure felt nervous. I have no idea what to say and how to act. Oh, that must be him. My God, Camilla! How could she forget to mention that the guy was in his 50s? People would think he's my sugar daddy. Ugh! Keep it together, Layla. I couldn't back out now, as my home depended on it. So, I slowly approached the man. At first, he looked surprised. That figures. I mean, he was expecting Camilla. I explained the situation to him, and he wasn't mad or anything. He just smiled at me, and we started chatting. He's called Mr. Hall. He lost his wife 2 years ago, and ever since then he's been feeling lonely and needed someone to talk to. So that's why he started using this service. He was actually pretty easy to talk to, so the night quickly went by without any problem. After the date, he handed me an envelope and told me how grateful he was to me for listening to his burdens. I was itching to go home and open the envelope, but then he started going on about his heartbroken son. Suddenly, he was asking me if I'd talk to him. Obviously, I refused as this was a one-time thing to help out Camilla. Besides, I have a boyfriend. Speaking of which, he'll be so furious if he ever finds out about this. The next day, I paid the landlady 2 months' rent and assured her I'd have the rest with her soon. But to my shock, she just scowled at me and forced me to pay all at once. Well, guess where I am now? In a cafe, waiting for Mr. Hall and his son. Ugh. Oh, there he is. And that must be his son. Geez, could he look any more annoyed? Hi, I'm Layla. Nice to meet you. Save it. I'm only here because he forced me to. So just let's get it over with. Layla, thank you for coming. This is my son, Leon. Please don't mind his attitude. Then Mr. Hall left us alone. Man, Leon was hard work. Any questions I asked him, he just shrugged or snorted. Then, when he finally spoke, he sarcastically said, So, Layla, I hope the money's worth it. What? How rude! Then he continued, You must be desperate. Don't you feel ashamed of yourself? Ah! He was the rudest person I'd ever met. But, yes, I was desperately in need of money. So I took a deep breath and started telling him about myself. When time ran out, I said goodbye to him and left. What an unpleasant experience, but at least that was the end of it, right? Wrong, as Mr. Hall asked me to meet him several more times. Who was I to argue? I mean, I needed the money. But Leon was getting on my nerves, as all he did was slouch in his seat, slurp his drink, and say nothing. So, it was down to me to do all of the talking. I began telling him all sorts of things. About my past, my family, and friends, and even about my future plans. And Leon just sat there listening to everything, supposedly. Luckily, it finally ended, and Mr. Hall paid me so I never had to meet Leon again. Because the last few weeks had been taken up with dating Mr. Hall and his son, I hadn't seen much of Lincoln. So, at the weekend, I invited him over to mine and cooked for him. We were sitting on the couch hugging while watching a movie when Lincoln said, in a serious tone, Layla, we need to talk. But then suddenly my phone rang. It was Mr. Hall. I quickly rushed to the balcony to pick up. He wanted me to be Leon's +1 at his eldest son's wedding, and he was willing to pay double? Ugh, that sounded awful, but besides rent, I also had to pay for college fees and food, and my measly income from the grocery store didn't come close to covering it at all, so I reluctantly agreed. When I returned inside, I asked Lincoln what he wanted to tell me. He hesitantly said that he had to go on a business trip for 2 weeks. Well, maybe it was for the best, so I could go with Leon without worrying about my boyfriend. Ugh, I felt so guilty. I swear this would be the last time I was going to do this. Leon arrived to pick me up, and as soon as he saw my dress, he insisted I couldn't wear such an ugly thing. Ugh, he was so rude. I told him I had nothing else suitable, so he drove me to a dress boutique, then told the staff to bring the most beautiful dress in store to try on. Oh my, it was stunning. I was overwhelmed when I saw myself in the mirror. Well, I definitely looked amazing in it, and Leon must be thinking that too, 'cause He couldn't take my eyes off me. It's such a shame. I can't afford it. But then before I could stop him, he went ahead and paid for it. How frustrating. I was sitting in the church waiting for the wedding to start while Leon flirted with some girls. Thank God Lincoln wasn't like that jerk. Then everyone went to their seats and the wedding began. The groom walked to the altar in this luxury-fitted suit. Man, it must be so nice to be rich. But is that Lincoln? My Lincoln? Our eyes met, and he looked as shocked as I did. But instead of running to me and explaining everything, he just ignored me and continued with the wedding. I had to watch them saying their vows, exchanging rings, and kissing. I thought I was going to faint any minute now. Then at the wedding reception, Leon dragged me over to Lincoln and introduced me as his girlfriend. Awkward overload. And soon, some pretty girl distracted Leon again, so he chased after her. Then Lincoln immediately pulled me over to the stairwell. Why are you here with my brother? Were you cheating on me this whole time? Seriously? What about you? I'm not the one who just got married. Let me explain, it's not what it looks like. Right at that moment, Leon appeared and asked why we were here talking. I muttered out some story about trying to find the bathroom. Then I told Leon I had a headache and asked him to take me home. This was so confusing. How could my perfect boyfriend now be married to someone else? He kept on texting me saying he wanted to meet up and talk. I guess I needed to at least hear him out. The next day I met him at the museum, where we had our first date. So, his wife, Sandra, is the daughter of an affluential businessman who owns one of the biggest corporations in town. Lincoln's family company is in big debt, so his dad forced him to marry Sandra in order to save the company. Believe me when I say I don't have any feelings for Sandra. It's just business. I only love you. Please don't leave me. I promise as soon as the company is back on track, I'll file for divorce. Yeah, I know you probably think I'm crazy, but I still love him too. Besides, if the marriage is only temporary so he can save this family business, then that's understandable, right? He kissed me goodbye and left. But after that, Lincoln changed. Every time I texted and called him, he told me he was busy and would call me back. But he never did. I guess married life was preoccupying him. As if this wasn't frustrating enough, I had to put up with Leon. He kept on appearing at my place and bothering me. One time he showed up drunk, complaining about his ex-girlfriend, who'd just married someone else. Yeah, obviously it's far from worse than my current boyfriend just getting married. I tried to kick him out, but he'd already fallen asleep on my couch. The next morning I went to the kitchen to see Leon holding a picture of me and Lincoln and asking why we were on it. So I just shrugged and explained that we were a couple. Leon started laughing and calling me a fool. We argued back and forth, and in the end, I made him leave. I don't care what everyone thinks. I believe Lincoln. Then a few days later, I was walking out of college when I saw Mr. Hall waiting for me. He gave a slight sigh, then said, I will make this short. Stay away from Lincoln. He's married now. Layla, I'm fond of you, but if you try messing with Lincoln's marriage, I won't hesitate in making things complicated for you. Oh my God. I can't believe Leon snitched on me. Ugh, what a giant baby. In anger, I took out my phone and gave him a piece of my mind. Oh my God. I can't believe you told your dad about me and Lincoln. You're such a jerk. Just leave us alone and mind your own business. If you trust Lincoln, then that's on you. But he's not as innocent as he makes out. He and Dad would do everything for the company. What did that mean? I hung up without letting him say another word. This jerk didn't even try to cover up his action. I couldn't just let them do this. I needed to fight for us. So the next day, I walked straight into Mr. Hall's office, even though his secretary tried to stop me. I told him right to his face that I would never give up on Lincoln despite his threats. And you know what? Forcing your son to get married just to save the company makes you a coward. Mr. Hall burst out laughing. Well, what came next was far from funny. Turns out it was Lincoln's idea to marry Sandra. Leon was right. Both of them would do everything for the company. Another thing, Leon didn't tell Mr. Hall about Lincoln and me. He saw us talking at the wedding, so we hired someone to investigate us. I was totally wrong about Leon. Right at that moment, Lincoln walked in and stopped dead on seeing me. Layla, what are you doing here? You liar. I can't believe I trusted you. Please hear me out. I took the iced coffee from Mr. Hall's desk and splashed it in Lincoln's lying face. We're done. Overcome with emotions and Feeling like a massive fool, I rushed to the nearest bar to drown my sorrows. I was about to down my 4th shot when a hand stopped me. Ugh, can Lincoln just leave me alone? But when I looked up, it was Leon. Why are you so good to me? I mean, I blamed you for telling your dad. You should hate me. Because I like you. I felt like the room was spinning upon hearing his words. Then everything slowly came to light. Leon was devastated when his girlfriend broke up with him. But then he found out she did it to be with his brother. Yes, you heard me right. His ex was none other than Sandra. At first, Mr. Hall forced Leon to marry Sandra for the sake of the company. Even though Leon was crazy about her, he didn't want to marry her under those stipulations. Lincoln overheard their conversation, so to gain his father's trust, he charmed Sandra away from Leon. Oh my God, this family was crazy. I didn't want anything to do with any of them ever again. So I just rejected Leon's feelings, ran straight out of the bar, and cut off totally with all of them. So what now? Well, I graduated last month. So after that, I decided I needed a fresh start in a shiny new city. So far, so good. I have a new job, which I adore. And it's so good knowing I'm not going to run into that jerk Lincoln or his dad. I know what you're wondering. What about Leon? Well, one day, I was walking out of my apartment when I saw a familiar face. Yes, it was him. Turns out when Leon heard that I was moving to another city, he moved too. I thought it was sweet that he was willing to leave his family, friends, and job behind just to be with me. Maybe it's time to gradually open up to him, don't you think? Well, time will tell. Too bad my story has to end here.
Who put those books on the upper shelf? And why were my clothes in the closet reorganized? Did she seriously go into my room and rearrange my stuff? Unbelievable!
Avery, dinner's ready.
Okay, Dad, wait a sec. My dad shouted back.
What's taking you so long? Come down now. Dinner is getting cold.
Ugh, okay, I'm coming. As I walked into the kitchen, I gave her a resentful look.
What were you doing? You know dinner's always at 6.
Well, that's because she went into my room and reorganized everything. It was like Hurricane Katrina stopped by my room. I had to put everything back where it was. You must be wondering why I had this attitude towards my mom. Well, first, she isn't my mom. She's my stepmom. And second, I just couldn't stand her. You see, my parents divorced when I was 15, and after just 6 months, my dad started dating Rose. My first impressions weren't great. I mean, look at her. Okay, she's kind of beautiful, but her style just doesn't fit her age. She has this whole wannabe rocker thing going on. No, I'm serious. She even has a tank top that says, "I'm a rocker mom." My actual mom was the total opposite of Rose. She looks how a mom's meant to, with her elegant clothes and polite demeanor, and that's also how she raised me to be. Then there's the age difference. Rose is a decade younger than Dad. Suspicious? What if she was only after his money? I thought they wouldn't last, but then 1 year later, they announced that they were getting married. So, yeah, you can see where my hate was coming from. That's enough of me telling you about my family. Let's go back to this boring dinner. My dad just gently said,
Rose was just helping you. She didn't mean it. Now let's dig in. This smells delicious, honey.
Ugh, whatever. I rolled my eyes and sat at the table. I looked down and couldn't believe my eyes. It was spinach and sausage lasagna, Mom's signature dish. How dare Rose copy it? First, she rearranged my room, and now she wanted to replace my mom? Talk about a real-life evil stepmom. No way I was going to eat that. So I stood up, said I wasn't hungry, and started walking off. Dad stood up and was about to yell at me, but Rose stopped him. Whatever. I still ran upstairs and slammed my door shut. The next day, when I came home from school, I saw that Rose had a few friends over for beer and pizza in the living room. Look at them. They looked like they were having a band meeting. Normally, women their age have tea parties, not fast food fests.
Hey, Avery.
Rose greeted me. I just ignored her and went upstairs. But suddenly, I heard one of her friends say, "What a stubborn kid." Doesn't she have manners? If I were you, I would show the kid who's the boss around here. Jesus, her friends were awful just like her. Whatever, I didn't care what they said. But then Rose replied, "Hey, don't talk about her like that. Avery's a lovely girl. She's just had a lot going on the past 2 years. Every child would behave the same after their parents' divorce, don't they? She just needs a little time adjusting." Oh, wow. I didn't expect those words coming from Rose. She actually stood up for me? Maybe, just maybe, I've misjudged her. Maybe I should try and give her a fairer chance? So, that evening, when I saw her watching a movie, I walked over with a big bowl of popcorn and asked if I could join her. Rose looked shocked, like she'd seen a ghost or something. Then she gave me a big smile and said, "Of course, I would really love that." I sat down next to her, and we watched Mad Max together. Oh, wow. There was a lot of violence and some weird-looking characters. Normally, I don't watch these kinds of films. I'm more of a rom-coms girl. But that movie was really, interesting. We talked during it, and I must say Rose is actually kinda cool. We were both laughing when I heard someone coughing behind me. I turned around to see my mom standing there with a frown on her face. "Avery? Why didn't you return my calls and messages?" "Oh, I haven't introduced my mom to you yet. This is my beautiful mom, Melanie. She's a kind, gentle, elegant woman, and also a bit disciplined. But that's okay. I still love my mom very much." "Mom? What are you doing here?" "I called you a dozen times, but you didn't answer. Clearly, you're preoccupied. I got worried, so I swung by to check on you." "Oh, sorry, Mom. Rose and I were having so much fun that I didn't notice my phone." My mom knitted her brows and asked, "Are we still on for shopping tomorrow? You need a new outfit for the debate contest, right?" "Yeah, of course. I will meet you at the mall after school." "Oh, you two are going shopping? That's so cool. Can I join?" At that moment, I thought, what a great idea. I mean, so far, they seem to get along okay. But what I didn't know was that a war between my mom and my stepmom had just launched. Rose gave me an excited smile, but Mom, on the other hand, didn't look so thrilled. Maybe she was still mad that I missed her calls? So the next day after school, I went outside and saw my mom standing by her car. Oh, was she waiting for me? I was about to walk toward her when I suddenly noticed she was giving dirty looks to someone. Oh my God, Rose was waiting on the other side of the street. I quickly jumped behind some bushes to hide from them. Don't tell me the two were here to pick me up. Suddenly, my phone rang. It was Mom. There's no way I was deciding between them, so I told her I was already on my way to the mall. Ugh. Now, let's talk about my fun family day out at the mall. It was a disaster. My mom and Rose have very different style, obvs, so my mom chose this elegant black vest and skirt for me, but Rose thought I looked like Ruth Bader Ginsburg. No offense, she's a badass who brought justice to women, but Rose was kinda right. That outfit just didn't work for me. Then Rose chose this red dress for me. But, oh man, that's kinda revealing. They were constantly dragging me from this shop to the other like they were playing tug of war. And I was the freaking rope. I couldn't handle it anymore. Therefore, I just chose any dress so they'd stop throwing clothes in my face. On the way out of the mall, we passed a piercing shop. I've been wanting a helix piercing at the upper cartilage of my ear. They look so cool. I asked Mom, but she profusely refused. Her own words were, "It would make you look rebellious." His Mom was still strict as always. Nonsense. Rose snorted. "Melanie, Avery's old enough to make her own decisions. If she wants a piercing, then let her." Then she turned to me and said, "Come, I will take you inside." Oh my God, I couldn't believe it. I glanced at Mom, and she looked like she was about to explode with anger. But Rose had a point. I'm already 16 for crying out loud. After 15 minutes, Rose and I came out. Oh, thank God. Did you reconsider getting that ear piercing? Oh yeah, Rose said that a nose piercing would suit me better. What? Uh-oh, maybe the nose piercing wasn't such a good idea, because the tension between them was now catastrophic. I needed a way to bring them together, so I came up with a brilliant plan. I arranged a holiday in Brazil for us all. I have a friend there, Pedro. He was an exchange student at my school, so he could show us around. Dad was in on the plan. At the last minute, he pretended to be busy and canceled his spot. Perfect! Now Rose and Mom would have plenty of bonding time. As soon as we walked into the hotel lobby, they started fighting over who got to share a room with me. What's wrong with them? We just landed in Brazil! So I took the keys from the receptionist and told them they were sharing, 'cause I'll be by myself. Then in the evening, after we all got some rest, I waited for them in the lobby. Man, what's taking them so long? Suddenly, I saw two women walking over, and they were pushing each other. My God, it was Rose and Mom. I tried to keep calm and said, Jesus, can you two please stop acting like kindergarten kids? Mom sneered. Well, Rose over here took a 45-minute shower while I urgently needed to use the bathroom. You know how sensitive my stomach is. Rose rolled her eyes. That's because I have a strict beauty routine to follow. At least you got some sleep. I didn't, thanks to your bulldozer snoring. I certainly did not. Then they began to stare off like two UFC fighters. I shouted, Enough already! Listen up. I just made a dinner reservation for you two to get to know each other better. I have plans with Pedro, so I'll catch you both later. They were about to refuse, but I gave them this really intense look. Well, at least you're having fun. You two should hit a bar. Nothing can top some Brazilian bars. No drinking, and be back by 10 p.m. tops. Yeah, I know. Have fun. I waved at them and left the hotel. The next morning, I saw them talking to each other. Actually talking, not bickering. So I walked over to them and asked, Well, how was dinner? Then they told me it was actually really great. They were able to put their differences aside and got along. Success! So now I could enjoy the rest of the trip. After breakfast, Pedro came by to take us on a hiking trip in the forest. It was so wonderful. The fresh air, the birds singing. Well, maybe except for the heat and the mosquitoes. Pedro wanted to bring us to this spot he said was perfect for watching the sunset. Awesome! It was all going well at first, but then as Rose avoided a tree branch, it accidentally hit my mom. My God, you hit me on purpose, didn't you? What? That's absurd. I was just avoiding the branch. Oh, please, as if. Are you saying that I'm lying? Hey, guys, stop it. Let's be more understanding and talk things out. Like how you did it last night, okay? That's when I found out that they were just pretending to be friends so that I didn't set up any more dinners for them. Oh my God, unbelievable! After their friendship act was exposed, they began speed hiking, like they were in a competition or something. But yep, after only 15 minutes, they were exhausted and couldn't even stand straight anymore. I began to shout at them. This is great! Your dumb feud is ruining my vacation! Then I walked away to avoid them, but of course, not too far. As I walked, I tried to think of another plan to get them close. Then I realized I'd wandered further away from the group. Okay, Avery, don't panic. Pedro had given me a map of the forest. I just needed to get to that marked X. It sounded easy. Trust me, it wasn't. I walked for hours and still couldn't find the spot. Oh no. It was getting dark, and I was totally exhausted. I sat on the ground and couldn't hold back my tears. I was about to lose hope when I suddenly heard Rose and Mom's voices. Oh, great! I was lost and could still hear them arguing in my head. I must be losing my mind. But wait. Suddenly, they appeared from behind some trees. It was really them. I couldn't believe it. I ran into their arms and gave them both the biggest hug ever and cried like a baby. Before we went to the airport to head home, Pedro came to say goodbye. Thanks for the hiking trip and also carrying out my plan.
No problem. Your plan was definitely crazy, but it totally worked. After you went missing, they actually teamed up to find you. They helped one another when one tripped down or got exhausted and kept each other motivated.
Pedro grinned at me, then continued.
I too was freaking out when I didn't see you at our meeting point. Luckily, I still found you.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that pretending to be lost was a part of my plan, but what I didn't expect was to actually get lost. Thank God for Pedro. And you know what? After that incident, my mom and Rose grew close. Actually, a bit too close, I think. They even sometimes hang out without me. Can you believe it? Turns out, even though they have two very different personalities and styles, they still have one big thing in common. They both love me. I walked into school, with whispers following me, but is it just me, or did the crowd seem even more chatty today? I nervously walked up to my locker and, oh my God! Splattered across it was the stamp, Teenage Karen in spray paint! I shivered from embarrassment. Surrounded by giggles and gawping faces, I ran straight into the bathroom and shut myself in a cubicle to calm down. You might be wondering, how did I get here? I don't sound like those unreasonable, cocky people that usually grow into Karens, right? Because I'm not one of them. However, I realize how my actions could have caused this situation. I was adopted into one of those wealthy families who pressured their children to grow successful and flawless. As a result, I have never got any lower grade than an A or lost a competition. I was that perfect child that was too scared to fail, because nobody had ever taught her how failures work. But then one day, everything changed. One casual school day, I walked into the literature class and saw an unknown boy already occupying my desk. All the girls were giving him dreamy looks. Hey! I tapped on his shoulder.
Is this your seat?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know.
He then moved to another desk. I forced a polite smile and took my seat. Then our literature teacher announced that we would have a little test today, not affecting our grades. Being the teacher's pet around here, I could tell this was because she wanted to test Austin, that new boy. Okay, fine by me. Another A+ to add to my collection. But only, I somehow couldn't concentrate. I looked out of the window, trying to find some writing inspiration, but that new guy was blocking my view. Okay, to be fair, he looks pretty cute. Without realizing it, I started staring at him. Then suddenly he turned to me. We made eye contact, which startled me. Oh gosh, wake up, Catherine! You have a test to finish! I tried to focus on my essay again, but I kept having this feeling of him looking at me. Jesus, I hope he didn't get the wrong idea. I'm not like those girls who only go to school to check out cute boys. Time's up! I nervously turned in my paper, as I knew I was distracted and didn't deliver my best. But never mind, nobody could beat me, even on my worst days. Well, not this time. The following day, the teacher handed me back my work and whispered, I don't know what happened, but it's okay. Don't worry. Huh? I quickly took the paper and... B-? Okay, I knew I couldn't get an A+ with this one, but not even a normal A? I've never had a B before! The disappointed faces of my parents popped up in my mind. What if they wouldn't want me anymore? They adopted me, gave me this luxurious, perfect life, and this is how I thanked them? I started to panic and looked around to find the teacher. I needed to clear this up. And that's when I caught a glimpse of Austin's paper. An A? No way! I slammed it on the table and stood up. I protest this grade. There must have been some mistake. Can you please look over my essay?
Oh, don't worry. This isn't an official test, so it's fine. No! It's not fine! How can I possibly be worse than this new kid? You have to reconsider it, or I'll take it to the principal! Kate, you're being unreasonable. Sit down, or I'll take you to the principal. I took a deep breath and calmed myself while sitting down. There were whispers about me circulating the class, but I couldn't care less, as I had this B- to deal with. My parents could never know about this. After this, I knew my friends were just pretending to be okay with me. As one time, when we had to team up for the relay running in PE class, no one picked me. In the end, Coach Malone had to add me to a group. And guess what? It's the group of Austin and his fangirls. I hate this. And look at him, such a thorn in my eye. I wish I could just throw this baton at his annoying face. But, thud, I fell face down just inches away from Austin. Are you okay? Just take the dumb baton and go. Ugh, this dude is definitely bad luck. I crawled up, then suddenly I heard giggles. It was a group standing by the track lanes with their phones up. Were they laughing at me? I stormed over to them with my hands up to cover their cameras. What's so funny? Do you have any common courtesy? Chill out. It's not, has no one taught you to help others in need? Not record them and laugh over it? No, listen. Funny story. So you still think it's funny? Delete that video right now. No, you can't. Just hear us out. But that only made me madder and yank on the phone even harder. Then, oops, the phone went flying and hit the hard concrete ground. Oh no, I didn't mean to. The boy whose phone it was freaked out and ran over to pick it up. Look what you've done! Who would ever want to film you? We were just making a performance video for the cheerleading team. Through the cracked screen of his phone, I saw a video of the cheerleaders practicing on the field on the other side of the track lanes. Oh no, this was so embarrassing! I quickly asked for the guy's contact and promised I'll make up for his broken phone, then ran back to my class. I felt exhausted. It's like the whole world was against me. But at least there was always one thing that could ease my soul. Yes, it's my books. That's why whenever I feel drained, I'd go to the school library to relax. So, like every other time, I made my way there, but I think I'd forgotten my library card. Oh well, no big deal, as the librarian, Mrs. Flenderson, is basically family to me at this rate. She doesn't even ask for my card anymore. Hi, Mrs. Flenderson, I said as I passed by the librarian's desk, but then I was taken aback by some unfamiliar voice. Where are you going? Card, please? It turned out Mrs. Flenderson was out of the office, and there's this freshman who volunteered to fill in. I asked her nicely to let me in, but she kept on saying no while chewing on her gum, which drove me crazy. Ugh. Listen, do you know who I am? I don't need some dumb card to get in here. Yeah, but not on my watch. Look, half of these books are from my family's donation. You should be showing some more respect, kiddo. Your snobby opinions won't work with me. Here, we attend the same school, so we're all equal and rules are rules. Let me speak to your supervisor. Call Mrs. Flenderson. You're such a Karen. I froze upon hearing that word. That was the first time I'd been called by that nickname, and only then I realized how much of a fuss I'd been making here. But it's just that I was already in such a terrible mood. All I wanted was to just go to my safe place, and that too was impossible now. I then quickly composed myself and walked away. But to my dismay, some passerby had been watching me throw a tantrum since God knows when. And yep, Austin was there too. Why would I be surprised anymore? My stories at the running track, also at the library, soon spread around the school like wildfire. People didn't try to hide the fact that they were avoiding me anymore and started calling me Karen. So, obviously, this one time when we had to pair up in literature class for the midterm essay, I was left alone again. At least, that's what I thought.
until Austin leaned over and asked me to be his partner. Though I hated his guts, I cannot fail his test. So yeah, I've agreed. We met up later that day at his house. I was enthusiastically showing him some of the book options for our essays topic, but he was totally unbothered, scrolling through his phone.
Yeah, whichever you like. He'll be taking care of all this anyway.
What do you mean?
Look, I only paired up with you because you're so good at this. So please just do your thing. Whatever. I don't care. I hate these.
You don't like literature? But last time you scored an A.
Oh, that? Don't be too bitter, as I just copied your work and changed it around a bit. So technically it's your A too. Yay! Congrats!
What? So all of the stress I had to bear these past few weeks turned out was just because he cheated? Ugh! I was so angry! Feeling on emotional overload, I burst out crying, which got Austin flustered.
Hey, what's wrong? Calm down. Don't cry. I'm sorry. Please stop crying.
Then through tears, I started telling him about all the pressure I have to bear from my parents' expectations, and about all the Karen mishaps I've gotten caught up with lately at school. At one point, Austin apologized to me, as he realized this all originated from the act of him copying my essay. That night, we didn't get anything done for the essay, but we just sat down and talked. After such an oversharing session, Austin and I naturally got closer to each other. In fact, he became the only friend I had at school. It's nice to have a friend again, but it's still hard when your reputation at school was totally ruined and everyone knew you as teenage Karen. Especially when I had a big speech contest coming up. I hadn't been in the right mind to study, so I barely had anything prepared for the competition. I kept imagining my parents' disappointed faces when I didn't win first place. The night before the contest, I was so stressed out that I had to pour it all out into my diary, in hope that I would feel lighter and ready for the big day. Then suddenly my phone rang. It was Austin. Hey.
Good luck tomorrow, Kate. See you there.
Thanks. I don't know anymore.
Are you still stressed over it? If you're this worn out because of it, then I know a cure.
What is it?
Just quit. It's just some contest, and you don't have to come first in everything. We're all just human after all.
You're crazy. Okay, I'll get some sleep now. See you tomorrow. But my mind was too cluttered with thoughts and worries to sleep. The next morning, I arrived in front of the competition venue, but hesitated to go inside. Then suddenly, I found myself running away from that building while phoning Austin. Meet me at the park, West Gate. 10 minutes later, he arrived in his car. I hopped in the front seat, then said, "Let's go to the theme park. I want to have fun." Austin looked at me, stunned, but then he smiled and drove off without a question. Yep, just like that. I dropped out of the contest and turned off my phone to just enjoy a day being a teenager. I went on all the scariest roller coaster rides, screaming my heart out, leaving all my worries behind. By dusk, I was 100% ready for my parents' tantrum. They probably would disown me now, but I felt strangely calm. As Austin drove up to my house, I could see my mom pacing back and forth in the front yard. There she was, already waiting to punish me. Upon seeing me, Mom ran straight over and gave me a hug.
"Oh my God, honey! Where have you been all day? We've been worried sick about you."
Wait, what's going on? Why isn't she angry? Then Dad also ran over to us as soon as he spotted me, holding something in his hand.
"Sweetie, I'm so sorry for not knowing how much you've been through. We didn't realize our high expectations were putting so much pressure on you. We might have been too strict on you, but I want you to know that we'll always love you, no matter what."
Oh, Dad was holding my diary. So, they know everything now. I cried tears of relief. It was so good to know they finally understood my feelings, and they even swore to change and try to listen to me more. That day, I realized that my parents loved me unconditionally, and whatever happened in my life, they would never give me up.
"What's up, teenage Karen?"
Yeah,
My friends still call me Karen. But it's okay, as they only call me it in a jokey way. Nothing mean or anything. I'm over everything that happened, and so is everyone else. It's all just memories now, but thanks to that Karen phase, I was reminded not to be so strict on myself, so I don't end up being a Karen to my own self again. Here's the rest. Thank you so much. No problem. Congrats to you both. You're probably thinking, why is that girl so happy about giving me money? Well, it's my consulting fee for helping to win over her crush. Yep, it all started about a month ago when, thanks to my amazing advice, my BFF Haley won over this hot boy, Luke. And the best part is, it only took one picture. Well, I know that boys like Luke are so fed up with dating the popular, hard-to-please girls. So when my cute, sweet-natured friend handed him a sketch she drew of him, then shyly confessed her feelings for him, as expected, Luke fell head over heels for her. How did I come up with such a cool plan, you ask? Well, I basically have the superpower to read boys' minds. That, and I also know the real personality of each type of boy. Why? It's because I've lived with my 3 wonderful brothers for the past 15 years. And every day, I had to put up with their bad habits. Ugh. Such as my eldest brother, Axel, the jock. Outside, he was always shiny and well-groomed, but at home, he never tidied his room and once went a full week without bathing. Ew! Then there's my second oldest brother, Stefan, the prodigy who didn't say much. Unless he's at home. Then he won't quit bragging about everything in the world. I swear, I've never seen him be quiet for more than a minute. Then lastly is my youngest brother, Gavin, the friendly one. Haley thinks he's so kind and gentlemanly, but she doesn't see him at home when he's always teasing me and stealing my food. God, just talking about it makes my blood boil. So tell me, ain't I qualified to open a relationship counseling service with such broad knowledge of guys yet? And actually, it was Haley's idea. She'll go find clients, and I will give advice to help them win their crush's heart. And up till now, our consulting success rate is 100%. So it's not surprising that our name quickly spread throughout the school. One day, I was eating lunch when Haley ran up to me and excitedly said, "We have a big client." Who is it? Turns out it was Claire, a popular mean girl at school. I immediately shook my head. I'm not going to do it. You know I don't like Claire at all. Come on, she's paying double than usual. Nope, I don't want to help her. But Madeline, please, I already took her money. What? Was she being serious? Then, meeting my glare, Haley hurriedly continued. You see, Claire is already super popular. So, with your brilliant mind full of tips and tricks, she'll get the guy, and you'll get the validation. I suppose this would be good for the consultancy. Besides, Haley had a point. Regardless of the type of boy, I always knew what was needed to attract him. Okay, so who's our target? Ryan. What? Ryan, as in the nerd? Claire likes him? In response, Haley just smiled, nodded, and then bit into her lunch. Well, I didn't expect that. But whatever, that was Claire's business. Even if the target was a nerdy boy known for hating girls and not dating, it couldn't intimidate this Madeline. So, I embarked on the tactic mission for Claire. Now, let's see. A nerd would definitely fall for a girl with the same interests as him, right? So, the very next day, as planned, Claire was waiting for Ryan in front of the literature class. Seeing Ryan from afar, she immediately pulled out the book Wuthering Heights and pretended to be reading intently. But Ryan just passed by without even glancing at her, so she immediately chased after him and read a paragraph aloud. But Ryan kept on walking and even put his headphones back on. At this point, Claire could only stand there and stomp her feet. Well, that was a big fail. Seems like I needed to change the strategy. What about Lego? I mean, what nerd didn't like that? With this in mind, I spent the whole day helping Claire assemble a model of Hogwarts to give to Ryan. She proudly showed him the masterpiece, but he muttered out, "No thanks," then walked off,
leaving Claire with a dumbfounded look on her face. And so, over and over again, from getting Claire to give him Star Wars cookies, to sticking a picture on his locker of her dressed as Black Widow, my tricks just didn't work on Ryan. God, why was this guy so odd? A few days later, as I was putting my books in my locker, Claire appeared and said snidely, "What kind of services are you guys providing? It's been weeks. Why hasn't Ryan noticed me?" Slow but steady. Just keep with it. Trust me. Poof, trust you? I'll only give you another week. If you don't get the job done by then, I'll make sure everyone knows how much your advice sucks. Then she left. Ugh, what an obnoxious snob. But what else can I do? I must finish the job, else my consultancy services would be over. Besides, this Madeline couldn't fail like that. And that's when I had an idea. As you can see, Ryan is engrossed in writing an essay on his laptop. And there's me, Claire, and Haley sitting on the table nearby, pretending to read books, when in actual fact, we were watching Ryan's moves. Suddenly, Ryan let out a yelp, which made the whole library jump and gained him a dirty glare from the librarian. Then Claire sashayed over to him and said in a sweet voice, "Hey Ryan, is everything okay?" "No, my laptop's glitched out. My important essay is on there and I haven't saved it. This can't be happening." He jabbed at the keys. "I'll take a look. I'm pretty good with computers." She leaned over the laptop. Suddenly, Ryan's laptop made a noise and came back on, and the essay was perfectly fine. Wow, who would have thought that a hot girl like Claire would be such an IT expert, right? Ryan profusely thanked Claire and even invited her to lunch. Aha! Success, finally! But hey, don't tell me you also believe that Claire knows that much about computers. Of course not. It's all thanks to my brother Stefan. He showed me how to quickly install software to make it look like it was broken. So I used it on Ryan's laptop when he went to grab a book. My bro also showed me the secret code to get it working again in a flash, and I passed this on to Claire. Finally, the most difficult mission I've ever faced was over, and Claire and Ryan were officially dating. I wanted to celebrate, so I planned a movie trip with Haley. But then Luke surprised her with amusement park tickets, and she canceled to go with him. Ugh, so much for mates before dates. So here I am alone. It's safe to say I was in a bad mood, but then, to make it worse, the couple sitting behind me kept teasing each other, loudly smooching, and even kicking my chair. Ugh! I can't take it anymore. I turned around and was about to give them a piece of my mind. Huh? It was Claire with Jackson, the troublemaker from math class. The two of them also panicked when they saw me. What is this? Didn't she just ask me to help win over Ryan? Before I could ask her what was going on, she dragged me into the lobby. You better keep quiet about this or else. I don't get it. I thought you liked Ryan. Please. Of course I don't actually like that nerd. I'm just using him. If you tell anyone about this, I'll make sure your consulting service is finished. What? Is she threatening me? Well, it's true that she paid for the consulting service, but that doesn't mean I accept her using me for malicious purposes. I couldn't just stand by and watch Claire play with Ryan's feelings like this. So I left the movie theater and went around to Ryan's house. As soon as he opened the door, I blurted the truth out to him. He looked bummed out about it, and then shouted at me to go away. Please, Ryan, we can't let her get away with this. We need to teach her a lesson. He thought about this, then eventually nodded and gruffly said, Yeah, fine. Whatever. Luckily, that weekend, Claire's parents invited Ryan over for dinner. Now, let the payback plan commence. It's Claire. My phone went off, so I borrowed my sister's to text you. Come over in 15 minutes. I miss you so much.
Okay, on my way. Love you. X.
I was going over the plan once again in my head, then I suddenly saw someone sneaking near Claire's bedroom window. It was Jackson. He quickly climbed into Claire's room. I texted Ryan at once. The prey has arrived, then climbed in after Jackson. Seeing me, Jackson was frantic.
What on earth are you doing here?
Right at that moment, We heard footsteps outside. Afraid to be caught, Jackson ran over to the window to escape, but I quickly rushed over to block his way. "What are you two doing in Claire's room?" That was Claire's mom, and behind her was Ryan, and a panicked-looking Claire. "Claire, please can you explain to me why there appears to be a gathering taking place in your room?" Claire gave a flustered look, then blurted out, well, I'm dating Jackson. I only lied to you that I was dating Ryan because he's a top student, so you wouldn't stop me going out to see him, as I knew you'd never accept Jackson." It turns out, Claire's parents were so excited about her daughter dating such a smart boy like Ryan that they wanted to invite him over, which is why she hired me to help. They were furious to learn she'd been deceiving them, and no surprises, they grounded her for a month with no allowance. Poor her, but she had it coming. So, now what? Well, I decided to stop the consultancy service. I love helping people, but I don't like seeing anyone get hurt. Most people used my service for the right reasons, but I can never be sure that someone wouldn't use it for the wrong reasons again, and I don't want to be any part of that. It's not all bad anyway, as I've made a new friend out of it. Ryan. Speaking of which, he once caught up with me after class and said, "Hey, I need your consultancy help. It's pretty urgent." I sighed and replied, "Ryan, you know I don't do that anymore." "But you owe me one. I want you to help me ask this cute girl out. I really like her. Her name is Madeline." "Huh? I didn't know any other Madelines." "Oh, hang on. Did he mean me?" Right on cue, Haley and Luke appeared. "Hey, Ryan, if Madeline rejects your case, I'll do it. I have a lot of experience, too." I rolled my eyes at her, then peered at Ryan. OMG, he liked me. I couldn't stop blushing. It looks like this matchmaker may have just accidentally managed to match herself. I'm so nervous. You see, today is my first day of school ever. That's right. I'm Heather. I'm 15 years old, and I've never stepped foot inside of a school before. This is because my dad's a scientist and my mom's a writer, so they really cared about my education and worried that the elementary and middle schools in our town wouldn't be good enough. So my mom homeschooled me. Honestly, it was great. I really enjoyed learning about all kinds of different topics, especially literature. But then when I watched TV shows about high schools like The Kissing Booth or High School Musical, I felt a pang in my chest. I was missing out on so many things like having friends and talking to boys. I desperately wanted what those girls on TV had. So I begged my mom to let me go to high school. It took a lot of persuading and fake tears, but she agreed eventually. I was so excited! Finally, I'd get to experience school firsthand instead of living it vicariously through my favorite TV characters. Oh my god, what should I wear? What would I talk about? How would I make friends? This was actually happening! I could barely sleep the night before, and instead, I took the whole night to prepare myself. This was an important milestone in my life. So here I am, walking down the street to the bus station. Whoa, I've never seen so many people my age before. This is like a dream come true. I spotted an empty seat next to this girl, so I walked over with a smile. "Excuse me, can I sit here?" The girl looked me up and down, rolled her eyes, then put her bag on that seat. "Sorry, it's already taken." "Okay, that's fine. I'll sit alone in the back then. No problem." The girl must have gotten up on the wrong side of the bed or something. But, well, turned out it wasn't just the girl on the bus who'd gotten out of bed the wrong way. Because as soon as Mrs. Hickson, my English lit teacher, introduced me to everybody in class, I could see that everyone was giving me weird looks too. Were they making fun of me? But why? Did I have jam on my face? Mrs. Hickson showed me to my seat and the class began. "By now, you've all had plenty of time to finish reading The Great Gatsby." Aw, I adore that novel. Throughout the novel, Fitzgerald continuously references a green light that Gatsby keeps on reaching for.
Can anyone tell me what the green light symbolizes?
I looked around, expecting to see everybody raise their hand. But to my shock, they were all staring down at their desks to avoid eye contact with Mrs. Hickson. Huh? But why? This was so easy. Suddenly, Mrs. Hickson said,
No one, huh? Well, how about you, Kelly?
Everybody turned and looked at a girl who was adjusting her fake eyelashes in her compact mirror. Kelly continued fiddling with her eyelashes as she replied, doesn't a traffic light have a green light? So, duh, it means that he can cross the street. What? I burst out laughing, but then everyone turned to look at me. Oh, snap. Why was I the only one laughing? I mean, her answer was totally hilarious. Mrs. Hickson walked towards me. Oh no, was I in trouble?
Heather appears to be the only one here who understands why Kelly's answer was ridiculous. Can you explain this to your classmates?
The color green in itself illustrates the idea of greed and money, being a symbol of Gatsby's desire for Daisy. Gatsby already has everything anyone could dream for, but still, he is chasing after this light, or, in other words, chasing after the love of his life, Daisy. Mrs. Hickson gave me a satisfied smile, patted me on the shoulder, and then she said,
That's correct. Very good, Heather.
Suddenly, someone coughed out the word, Nerd! Everybody started to laugh. Seriously? How could they laugh at this, but not Kelly's foolish answer?
Quiet!
Mrs. Hickson then turned to Kelly and said,
Perhaps if you used your eyes to actually read a book, instead of only using them to wear fake eyelashes, then Heather here wouldn't need to help you.
Kelly glanced over at me, so I smiled at her. But, why was she giving me a dagger look? Did I do something wrong? After class was over, I was sticking cute pictures in my locker when Kelly and her two friends, Samantha and Brittany, appeared next to me. Heather, right? Yeah, that's right. Oh my God, your sweater is... Oh, do you like it? My mom... So ugly. Why are you even wearing one? It's not even cold. Is your mirror busted or something? Why else would you choose to wear such an awful outfit? Then the three of them started to laugh. What do you mean? I dress just like Jess in New Girl. She looks amazing, doesn't she? This made them laugh even louder. While I was still feeling confused about what just happened, a girl named Taylor walked over.
Hi, I overheard what you were talking about.
Actually, New Girl ended a few years back, so her style is kinda outdated.
Try watching Emily in Paris. That's the trend nowadays.
Oh God, I didn't think of that. No wonder the girl on the bus. Oh wait, no wonder everyone at school was giving me awkward looks. They must be thinking I came from the past or something.
And you should be careful. Kelly and her gang like to tease others, and I think you're their new target.
Oh, so Kelly's stare earlier in class wasn't just a regular stare. But so what? Thanks, but I'm not afraid of them. I know this type of mean girl. They're all bark and no bite. So that night, I binge-watched Emily in Paris. It's très chic. I studied the fashion style and mixed up some outfits. I looked at myself in the mirror and, oh my, I really did look different. The next day at school, no one was giving me funny looks. How about that? Taylor's advice was really helpful. By the end of the first week, I'd established myself as most of the teacher's favorite student. It sounded great, right? But trust me, it wasn't. Every time a teacher praised me, Kelly and her friends gave me dirty looks. Then I found a note stuck to my locker that said, "You weirdo." Right at that moment, Kelly and her friends walked past me giggling. In anger, I ripped off the note and told them, "When you're leaving mean comments at my locker, at least write them correctly. Weirdo is missing an R." They immediately stopped laughing and rushed off so that nobody knew it was them. Man, they were so annoying. High school wasn't turning out how I expected it to be. I thought I would be one of the cool kids, not the one being teased. Ugh! Then word got out that I used to be homeschooled, So Kelly began making jokes like, "Did your parents make you stay at home 'cause you're a freak?" Well, at least thanks to homeschooling, I don't come up with dumb answers in lit class. I snapped back. She stopped laughing and gave me this dumbfounded look. After that, they still carried on with their immature jokes at every given opportunity, but I tried my best to ignore them. But one day, they took it too far. I came to class and saw a big character drawing on the blackboard. It was me! "Oh my God, Heather, your portrait looks amazing!" And the whole class burst out laughing. "Ugh, how dare she! You messed with the wrong girl this time, Kelly." That afternoon, I went home and was persistent to find a way to get payback on the mean girls. Bingo! I took out my laptop and began frantically working. After just one night, I managed to hack all their social media accounts, including their iCloud, and found a lot of good stuff. So the next time they mess with me, I'll be prepared. And it didn't take long until Kelly's friends stopped me in the hallway again. "Ugh, could your skirt be any longer?" "Yeah, your grandma called. She wants her clothes back." Suddenly, everyone gathered around us to see what was going on. Good timing. Now we had an audience. Let's give the mean girls a taste of their own medicine. "Beautiful hair, Samantha. Tell me, how often do you have to dye it so that nobody knows you're actually a redhead?" What did you say?" "Oh, and Brittany, nice nose job." "What?" Everybody shockingly turned to look at Samantha's beautiful blonde hair and Brittany's nose. "How?" Brittany stuttered out before she grabbed Samantha's arm and they fled the scene. Yep, I've learned all about their embarrassing past through the pictures I've hacked last night. After that, Samantha and Brittany didn't dare to bother me, but the three of them were still teasing other people. Then I couldn't hold my frustration anymore when I saw them making fun of Taylor. "Hey, leave her alone!" Kelly turned around smirking. "Didn't your parents teach you that it's rude to interrupt people when they're talking? Or do they have weird opinions on that, too?" "Oh, so that's how she wants to do it. Fine by me. Bring it on." "Well, talking of parents, how are your parents doing, Kelly? Oh, wait, aren't they getting divorced?" Kelly's grin immediately disappeared and was replaced with a look of complete and utter dread. Then she just ran away without saying anything, leaving her friends shocked as well. That's right. I saw a really long private post about her parents getting divorced on Facebook. That must be her way to express her thoughts. But her bad. It kinda backfired. After the mean girls left, Taylor thanked me, and some of the other students gathered around me and praised me for standing up against Kelly and her clique. From then on, the mean girls avoided me like the plague. And just like that, I went from the nerdy homeschooled girl to the cool, popular girl who had the guts to stand up against the mean girls. It felt incredible. Then one day, I went to the bathroom during a class, and I heard someone in the stall crying. She was talking on the phone. "Please, Mom, don't get divorced. Can't you and Dad try to make it work? For me?" Oh man, could it be Kelly? As I was washing my hands, the stall door opened, and just as I thought, a red-eyed Kelly walked out. As soon as she saw me, she wiped away her tears and gave me a dirty glare. At that moment, I didn't feel good. I felt the complete opposite. I never realized that it was so hard for her. Making her feel bad didn't make me feel good. It made me feel bad too. "Kelly, I'm sorry about your parents." But she just snorted, then went to leave. I grabbed her arm. "Please, Kelly, I didn't mean to hurt you." Kelly looked me in the eyes and said, "But you did!" "I know. I'm sorry. I wasn't thinking straight." I kept apologizing to her, and after a while she eventually said, "Well, I suppose I was kinda mean to you too." We ended up talking, and she told me that she teased people to make her feel better about her family situation, which she was struggling to deal with. So I opened up to her about how nervous I was about starting school. We actually had a great talk, and the air was cleared between us. So, you see, from that moment on, things between me and the mean girls were great. Oh, wait, they aren't the mean girls anymore, just simply Kelly, Samantha, and Brittany. They learned that their actions towards me and other students weren't cool, and they finally understood how it felt like being laughed at, so they don't do it to anyone else anymore. So, in the end, high school turned out to be pretty amazing, just like I imagined it to be, but even better!
Emma, your teacher, Mrs. Holm, called again. She said your grades are appalling and you don't pay attention in class. Why can't you be more like your sister?
Yawn. Not this speech again. It's been like this ever since I started elementary school. In my mom's eyes, only my sister, Evelyn, inherited our dad's intelligence, while I'm just the senseless member of the family. Ugh, as if. She's only good with useless books. Bet she doesn't know anything practical, like how Dad's Ethernet company works and such. But whatever, I don't care. I'm full, I announced as I got up and went to my little headquarters, the garage. I was busy working on my own personal project, so I didn't have time to give a hoot about who my mom's favorite child is. Oh, you must be wondering what I'm working on. Well, this device broadcasts Wi-Fi. Sounds familiar, right? But my device is able to broadcast across the entire city. Not only that, the connection is stronger and much more stable than the Wi-Fi people use at home. And it's more convenient without all the cables and stuff. This is without a doubt my proudest work ever. And what a coincidence that a few days earlier at school, Mrs. Holm announced that for the first time, the school was organizing an invention contest. Normally, I give school activities a miss, but this time was different. This contest could be fun, right? There was no time to waste, so I put all my spare time, day and night, into making my invention contest ready. And you won't believe what happened. I won first prize! And that's not all. One of the judges, Mr. Johnson, was so interested in my invention that he offered to invest in it. At first, I was kind of scared and hesitated to agree because, I was still in high school. But this was an opportunity of a lifetime, so how could I deny it, right? So after that, Mr. Johnson sorted out a manufacturing company and office space for me downtown. This is cool, but I prefer to work in my garage. It's just more convenient that way, with me still being at school and all. I upgraded my device and launched it to the public. And you know what? It was a huge success. Pretty much everybody in the city got rid of their old, laggy Wi-Fi devices and accessed mine. Then one day, I got a call from the local news channel asking to interview me and my family at home. Oh my god, yes! Oh, there's just one snag. I hadn't told my family about it yet because, I don't know. Maybe I just know there's no way they'd believe me? Like the time I got an A in my physics exam, and my mom instantly asked if I cheated. But, well, whatever. This is much bigger than that. So I quickly ran downstairs to the living room and excitedly told my family that the invention benefiting the town was mine. But Mum and Evelyn burst out laughing. So you're telling me that this Wi-Fi, which is broadcasting across the entire city, is your invention? Yeah, Mum, it's mine. Then Mum and Evelyn laughed even louder. Honey, it's bad enough you're failing at school. Please don't start lying. Ugh, forget about it. Why did I even try? Then, the morning after, when the doorbell rang, my mom opened it and saw a reporter and a cameraman. She couldn't believe her eyes. Mum and Evelyn exchanged panicked looks, then rushed upstairs to prepare. It was so hilarious. The hysterics continued as they interviewed my parents. I watched my nervous, sweaty dad stand there like an awkward statue, while Mom began bragging about me like, as soon as Emma was born, I knew she was a genius like her dad.
I always encourage her to pursue her dreams. Jeez, and the Oscar goes to my mom. I didn't know she could act that well. To be honest, since I could remember, Mom never said anything nice about me. Ever. But now that she knew I was the mastermind behind the town's Wi-Fi, she would probably treat me differently. Right? Wrong. Then one night I came downstairs for a glass of milk and overheard Mom and Dad talking in the living room. Emma is such a selfish child. How badly will this affect your business? The truth is, the company's going through tough times. But don't worry, we're trying everything we can. Huh? Did I do something? And what's wrong with Dad's company? I tried to eavesdrop more, but suddenly I heard my dad standing up from the couch, so I quickly ran upstairs to my room. The next day, Dad forgot to take his lunch with him to work, so Mom asked me to take it over. But when I got to his company floor, it was deserted. Huh? Where was everybody? Did everybody get a day off or something? But that couldn't be it, right? That evening, over dinner, I asked Dad. I went to your office at midday, but not a single person was there. What's going on? Mom suddenly put her cutlery down and gave Dad a shocked look. Is what Emma just said true? Dad lowered his head and sighed out. Yes, it's true. I temporarily shut the company last week. I didn't want you all to worry, so I didn't tell you. I'm sorry. What? How could you? You said you would fix it. That's when it hit me. But I deeply prayed it wasn't the truth. So I asked him, is it because of my device? Dad didn't answer me. He just glared sadly down at his dinner. But I knew what his silence meant. I was right. Suddenly, Evelyn stood up and screamed in my face. It's all your fault! You invented that stupid device, and now Dad's business is at stake. That's so typical of you. You never think before you act. Then she stomped off upstairs. I just sat there speechless. I just wanted my family to be proud of me, but instead, it seemed like they despised me more than ever. Then Dad turned to me and softly said, Emma, this isn't your fault. I was kind of waiting for my mom to say something, anything at all, but she didn't. She just cleaned up the table. I felt really bad about what happened to Dad. But hey, now I had to work even harder so I could provide for my family, right? After that, Mom completely ghosted me. As for my sister, whenever our paths crossed, she gave me a dagger look and muttered out mean comments like, let's see how long it takes for your precious business to fail. I tried to ignore her, but then she took it too far. One Sunday, I was in my garage working away when suddenly I heard loud noises coming from outside. I opened the garage door to see a crowd of people holding signs saying, we lost our jobs because of you, and no job, no future. My God, they were protesters. I think they were from my dad's office. Wait a minute. I spotted a familiar face. Evelyn? She was holding a big sign saying, my dad lost his job because of you. Eventually, Dad came out and dispersed the crowd. Then he called an emergency family meeting. How could you do that to me? The correct question would be, how could you do that to Dad? Thanks to you, dozens of people have lost their jobs. You're making people's lives miserable.
Enough, both of you. Evelyn, what you did was wrong. Families are supposed to support each other.
But Dad,
Didn't you just hear what I said?
Evelyn gave me a dirty look. Then she ran off to her room. I looked at Mom, who was leaning against the wall with her arms folded. Did she agree with what Evelyn did? Or was she on my side? My God, please say something. But to my surprise, after that, my mother started talking to me again, and she was actually being nice. She even started cleaning my room and workspace. Whoa, this was new. Had she finally accepted me? Then one day, I received tons of emails complaining about my Wi-Fi. It took me all day, but I finally found the cause of the problem. My laptop. Somebody had tampered with it.
It didn't take a genius to figure out who it was. Evelyn, duh. But I needed proof, so I set up a trap. The next evening, when everybody was having dinner, I ran downstairs, quickly grabbed a piece of bread and said, "I need to go run some errands. Oh, and can you please stay out of the garage, as I'm uploading some important files?" Mom and Dad nodded and smiled at me. Evelyn, on the other hand, just rolled her eyes and continued eating. Well, at least I knew my plan was in motion. I walked outside and hid behind the bushes. So, what's my plan, you ask? Well, I set up my laptop so that when anyone opened it, it would automatically send a notification to my phone and turn on the camera so I could see who it was. I waited for an hour, but still nothing. Then suddenly, my phone beeped. Somebody was opening my laptop. They hadn't switched the light on yet, so it was too dark to see them, but I was 100% sure who it was. Time to expose. What are you doing sneaking out here? Evelyn? What was she doing out here? Wait, if Evelyn was here, then who was it in the garage? Not answering Evelyn's question, I ran like crazy into the garage to capture this intruder. And as soon as I turned on the lights, I couldn't believe who was messing with my laptop. It was Mom! What on earth was going on? I called a family meeting and told everyone what Mom did. Dad and Evelyn looked shocked and asked Mom why she did it. "I just couldn't stand seeing your dad suffer anymore. He put his life into that company, and now he's just a laughing stock. Do you realize our neighbors and relatives have been gossiping about him? They think it's so pitiful that he lost out to his own daughter. So I did what any self-respecting wife would do." Was she serious? Why didn't she just talk to me? All I ever wanted was for her to talk to me. Nothing else. But no, she decided to go behind my back and try to sabotage my business instead. After her betrayal, I'd had enough. So I didn't speak to her and avoided her as much as possible. It was one thing for Mom to be cold towards me, but I never thought she was capable of doing this. This went on for weeks, and it got kinda tedious. Trust me, it's no fun trying to avoid someone in your own home. But then one day, I arrived back from school and saw Dad sitting in a corner in the living room, repairing his PC. Geez, he looked so miserable. That's when the truth hit me. This was his passion, and I took it away from him. Suddenly, I understood why Mom did what she did. She saw how disheartened he was, but knew he'd never say anything to me, because he's always supportive. But how can I fix everything? Should I give everything up so that my dad can reopen his company again? Ugh, why was this so hard to figure out? Wait a minute. I think I have the solution. You must be wondering what my dad was doing here. Well, I came up with the idea that we should work together. My dad's a pro with technology, so it didn't take long to show him how things work around here. Oh, and since my business has grown, we were able to employ some of his former work employees too. With Dad around to help, I have time to focus on my studies. Even Evelyn started helping out, and she was so good at it, I made her dad's assistant. Talk about a proper family business. Ha! As for Mom, we had a really long talk. I finally told her how awful her attitude towards me made me feel, and she apologized for everything she had done. I eventually forgave her. I knew she did that just because she loves Dad very much. So, after all that drama, we're now just one big happy family. I waited till my mom went out for groceries, then snuck into her room. "I'm just borrowing. I'll pay you back soon." I know what it looks like. Trust me, I don't want to steal from my mom. But if I don't do this, then I could lose my boyfriend and my friends. Then I'll be lonely and sad and easy prey for mean kids to tease. Ugh. I rushed to the park to meet Florian, my boyfriend. That's him over there. I walked over to him and handed him the money. "You promise you'll pay it back soon?"
"Sure, babe. You know you can trust me."
I went home and convinced myself that I'd have the money back before Mom even noticed. But the next day at school,
I couldn't find Florian anywhere. At break time, I asked my friend if she'd seen him, and she told me the shocking truth. Florian had been sent to reformatory camp. Oh my God! Did he really just scam me? Feeling my eyes tear up, I rushed to a corner in the school garden. Okay, so I don't actually have feelings for Florian. I dated him and hung around with the rebel kids because I wanted to build a cool image. The truth is, I'm just a poor girl. If people find this out, then my life would be over, right? They'd isolate me and tease me. Hey, Shannon, are you okay? Oh no, that's my friend Rachel. I can't have her see me like this. Hey, what's happened? She sounded so sincere, and I had to admit it. It would kinda be nice being able to confide in someone. So I blurted out how my dad passed away last year, and now Mom struggles to pay the bills, and she works all hours in a factory, and how Florian tricked me into giving him money from Mom's savings. To my surprise, Rachel put her arm around me and, smiling sweetly, said, "It's okay, Shannon. I can lend you the money. You can pay me back whenever." My eyes lit up and I spluttered out, "Really? You do that for me?" "Of course. We're friends, aren't we?" Wow, that was surprising. Turns out I'd massively underestimated my friend. I thought she would tease me if she knew the truth, but instead, she actually sympathized with me and tried to help me. At lunchtime, my friend Dee sat down next to me and asked why I looked so down. I wonder. I then glumly stared down at my yogurt, sighed, and told her how awful things were for me at the moment. She rubbed my arm and told me it would be okay. Then she lent me some money. Wow, it worked again! I did this a couple more times and voila! I had enough money to replace in my mom's box before she even noticed it was missing. Oh, that's so pretty. It would be just perfect for my upcoming model audition, but there's no way I can afford it. I glumly walked off, daydreaming about how amazing I'd look in that dress. "Hi, Shannon." I turned around and, oh, it was Brett, this dorky guy from school. He hurried over to me, nervously itched at his neck, and then spluttered out, "Hey, Shannon, are you shopping?" Ugh, this guy was so annoying, as if a pretty girl like me would be interested in a dorky guy like him. Hang on, was that a Louis Vuitton shopping bag in his hands? I must have been looking at it, as he lifted it up and, blushing, said, "Oh, it's a present for my mom's birthday." I stroked his arm, then gave him my best doe-eyed look. "Brett, you're such a good son. Your parents must be so proud of you. I wish I could get my mom something that meaningful too, but we're too poor." I sniffed. "I can't even afford this really pretty dress I need for my audition." Brett smiled sweetly at me and said, "That's okay. How about I get you the dress as a birthday gift? Your birthday's coming up anyway, right? Let's go." So that's how I ended up with the perfect dress. Oh, and I also ended up with a new boyfriend, Brett. At first, it was great being taken out to posh restaurants and bought lavish gifts for, but then the shine started to fade. I didn't like Brett in that way. In fact, I found him kinda annoying. He's not handsome at all, and he does the dumbest stuff. The other day in the lunch queue, he actually started showing me the terrible dance for his latest TikTok video, and it was so embarrassing. Whenever I had to hang around with Brett, I found myself daydreaming about someone else. This hot boy named Tyler. If only I wasn't stuck in this rut with Brett. But it was worth it for the money and stuff, right? Then one day at school, Rachel came over to me and asked me for her money back. I told her I was really sorry, but I didn't have any at the minute. Rachel sneered. "Really? Then how come you have all this new stuff?" "You know my family's poor. I hardly ever see my mom as she works so much. I don't have any money." "Fine, whatever." She stormed off. Rachel must have spoken to the others about this, as when I was with Brett next to the lockers, they came over to me and all started asking for their money back. I tried explaining to them that I didn't have any money, but one of them snorted.
Yeah, right. You've had us all fooled with your sob story. Watch out, Brett. She'll do the same to you too.
Then they walked off. Brett was giving me this questioning look, so I tried to act like everything was fine and started sorting my books out. He didn't say anything after that, so I acted as nothing happened and held onto his arm as we walked to class. Then suddenly, he pushed my hand away.
Is it true? Are you only with me for my money?
No! How can you say that? Stop being ridiculous. I tried to deny, but he wouldn't quit going on and on, which drove me mad. You don't trust me? Fine! I don't think I want to be with someone who thinks that little of me anymore. Goodbye! I then stormed off to the girls' restroom. Phew! I almost got exposed. But hey, at least I was now free of Brett, right? But what if Rachel and the others started making more of a fuss about the money? I didn't want them being mean to me about it. I needed to find a way to pay them all back, and fast. I approached Tyler after his basketball practice and asked him if he'd like to go for a drink. There, I put on the waterworks and told him all about my poor family and how I borrowed money from my friends to pay the bills, and now they're all mad at me. Tyler seemed genuinely concerned and instantly handed over some money. I hugged him and repeatedly thanked him. He smelled so good, but I felt kind of bad. This isn't like with Brett, since I really do like Tyler, and I feel guilty for taking his money. After that, I went and found Rachel and the others and paid them back. I thought my friends would be okay with me now, but turns out they weren't. Whenever I passed them at school, they sneered and gossiped about me. This sucked, but at least I had Tyler. We started hanging out all the time, and he was so sweet and funny. He also offered to lend me more money, but I refused as I didn't want to borrow any more than I needed to ever again. Then, that evening, I was scrolling through my social media account when I saw some posts about me. Oh no. They were saying how I took advantage of other people's sympathy to get money. I was freaking out. So I quickly replied to the thread saying it wasn't like that, and my life was hard. But then Rachel commented, "Here she goes, playing the victim again." The next day at school was awful. I felt like everyone was gawping at me. But as long as Tyler was by my side, it's all okay. I was chilling with him by the soccer field when Brett walked over, an angry look on his face. "You used me, didn't you? You never liked me at all. You just wanted my money." I stared at him open-mouthed, not knowing what to say. "That's real low, Shannon. Hey, Ty, if I was you, I'd stay away from her, unless you want to end up in debt." He walked off.
Is what he said true?
No. Well, yes, but it was the past. It isn't like that with you, I promise. Tyler shook his head, then said,
I didn't think you were like that.
Then he grabbed his stuff and left. This was awful. Not only had I lost all my friends, but now I'd lost the boy I truly cared for, too. After that, everyone ignored me at school. It felt horrible to know I was that unpopular, and I couldn't wait to finish school. When my graduation day finally arrived and I went up to get my certificate, suddenly, Rachel rushed up onto the stage and grabbed the mic. "Hey everyone, I think it's only fair that you all know the truth about Shannon. She uses her friend's sympathy to get money out of us. She even dated a guy just so she could make him buy her everything she wanted." Oh my God. All the teachers, students, and even my mom were staring at me. I felt like I was going to faint from shame, so I frantically pushed past everyone and raced out of there. When I got home, I locked myself away in my room and cried into my pillow. I was never leaving my room again. The shame was too much. A little later, my mom knocked on my door. Then she came into my room and perched on the edge of my bed.
Honey, I'm just wondering why you did those things.
I told Mom everything about Florian tricking me,
how I took money off my friends and used Brett. Then afterward, I took a box from under my bed, opened it, and told Mom it was for her. In it was a new safety outfit for her work, as well as some new casual clothes, too. Your work outfit is already worn out, and I want you to have nice clothes. I know we aren't